Like, you fucking love ass kickers ass kicking. That's one of the greatest things human beings ever invented in film is ass kickers ass kicking. So when this blind ex-Navy SEAL motherfucker starts, like, seal chopping. Seal chopping? I don't know what they do.
Clearly. Hello there, everybody. This is Nate. Before we get officially into the episode, I just wanted to say a few things. This is the first of our Halloween episodes. For the entire month of October, we're going to be doing movies that you could consider at least somewhat scary, or at least that was their intention when they were being made. Before this episode starts, I do just want to put a little bit of a trigger warning. We talk about some plot points from the first movie, and there are some mentions of sexual abuse and assault. If that's something that you feel like you can't handle, we completely understand if you need to skip this episode. However, if you don't want to miss this episode, but want to be able to skip past the parts that might be triggering, there will be more voiceover edits like this one that tell you where you can skip to avoid those parts. Thanks for listening to the show, and have a happy Halloween. What the hell was that? My name is Nate.
I'm Mike.
I'm Ryan.
And what the hell was that?
What the hell was that?
What the hell was that?
That was something.
I tell you.
I have a lot to say about this before we really even get into analyzing this movie.
Yes.
But before I even start bringing up context that I gained today by doing a little bit of research, I'd like to share something that I thought was really funny.
By cheating.
I'd like to share something that I think is really funny that I witnessed today.
Go on.
And I'd like to share with you guys.
Please do.
So today, I had to take my uncle to the DMV.
Okay.
And so...
What is the DMV?
Department of Motor Vehicles.
These are regional things, so...
Are they?
Yeah, not everything has a DMV.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, funny enough, when I was a kid, I did think that it was Delaware Motor Vehicle, and I thought that every state had, like...
Like their own...
Yeah.
Like,
the VMV for Virginia Motor Vehicle, something like that.
Right.
Anywho.
The NDMV.
I had to take my
That's
uncle...
North Dakota.
So today I took my uncle to the Department of Motor Vehicles, and where we live, there are usually like hot dog carts outside of the DMV.
True.
I don't know if that's a regional thing or what, but
no. There's different vehicle offices, but every one of them has a hot dog.
It's not always a hot dog, right? Sometimes they got chickens.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a little Euro stack.
Yeah, but it's always some like food cart.
Yes, there's a hot dog vendor.
The Home Depot also has like
actually,
a hot dog cart outside of it.
It's the same one too.
Yeah,
it's Ed's Hot Dogs.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it seems to be doing well.
Ed's Hot Dogs is outside of the Delaware Motor Vehicle, and so my uncle is inside the DMV doing what he's doing, and I decided to stay in the car. And so I am sitting in the car. I'm actually editing an episode of the podcast on my laptop as I do so, and I happen to overhear a conversation between the hot dog vendor and a customer.
Okay. Are you going to do voices for the hot dog vendor and the customer?
Absolutely not.
Good. Oh. That was such a mislead. Now you have to.
Oh, well.
All right, well, no, never mind.
No, go on, please.
Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm overhearing this conversation. And so the vendor and the customer are discussing the most recent developments.
Did you write this down?
Yes, because I wanted to remember it.
You keep glancing at your phone.
Yeah, I don't want to forget it.
Okay.
So the vendor and the customer are having a conversation about the recent developments of the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Yeah,
so very real stuff, which I feel bad about laughing
100%.
about. But they're just having a conversation about this. Yeah. And the conversation loosely goes, so the hot dog vendor is like, yeah, the United States military used to be something to be respected, but now we're just a laughing stock. And then the customer's like, yeah, brother, I hear you. could I get a hot dog with ketchup on it?
I saw you eating that ice cream cone.
Love it. Man, I could talk to you about foreign affairs all day, but also I am here for the transaction of a hot dog. So
it was
if we can do that
also it was
too.
kind of uncomfortable because I'm viewing this. There's like a couple people like behind the guy. Like there's a line.
Right.
And, like, they're like talking about foreign policy while the
Right.
guy's trying to order a hot dog.
Right.
Like that's not a quick conversation.
No,
Just,
not at
just
all.
tell them you didn't know you loved paying taxes and how high taxes are. Tell them that you didn't know that they were in such huge support of high taxes and there's some programs you'd like to speak to them about. And they'll be like, I don't support no taxes. And you'd be like, then you need us out of Afghanistan, buddy.
Yeah.
Anyway. Damn shame about Afghanistan, though. Sweet Christ, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is. Yeah.
here we are on our political podcast now. we can't get into it. But, yeah. Needless to say, a lot of destabilization and pain going on in that country. So, of course,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So I have a few things to say about the first movie before we get into.
Fuck it.
Yeah,
They
can you
had to bring
enlighten
up
us?
Afghanistan.
Can you?
God damn it. Okay. Reset.
So the first couple things that I noted was that the first movie was written, directed, and produced by a lot of people that were on the same team that produced the 2013 Evil Dead movie.
And they ruined that.
Yeah,
As an
I haven't
Evil
seen
Dead
it.
fan.
I don't really know, but I noticed that because that was something that was prominent
like,
on the Wikipedia
fine.
page. And so one of the people that was most notable, though, was Sam Raimi. And I like Sam Raimi. I like the Spider-Man movies. That's the thing I know him most from.
Right.
But again, Sam Raimi
Wait,
was
he worked
involved.
on the first one?
Yes.
Huh.
And
What was he? What
I'll
was he
get to it.
doing?
So,
Pictures of
he
Spider-Man?
co-produced it.
Co-produced. Okay.
So
well,
I mean,
he wasn't
you know,
even like a producer.
but involved slightly, you know.
Yeah.
And so the only reason I
He was
bring
on
this,
set bringing Spider-Man references all the time.
yeah,
But he also did the original Evil Dead.
Oh, hadn't known that.
yeah.
Huh.
But the reason I bring this up is because
That wasn't George Romero? Different thing?
That's
Day of
that's
the Dead?
zombies. Yeah.
Day of the Dead?
There you go.
Day, okay.
Dawn of the Dead. Day of the
Dawn of
Dead.
the-
Night
okay.
of the Living Dead.
Yeah. You see, good. Okay, good. Yes.
Dead.
Fair.
so the reason
Bruce Campbell? Is that the guy's name?
kill you.
It's Evil Dead. Yeah, that's Evil Dead.
Okay.
So so the reason that I bring this up is because there are things with the plot of the first one which I'll get into shortly.
Yeah, because we do need to clarify those
absolutely.
before I have points about the hero of this film.
Yeah, so there are things about the first film, and then things about the second film. And this is before I watched it, just based on promotional material alone.
Because I remember we saw the trailer for the first time when we were seeing a different movie. I forget which one.
I think it was Escape Room.
Yeah. But I kind of brought it up to you, and you were like, "And that's the guy they're going to make a hero of this second film."
Yeah,
And I was
exactly.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
So let me clarify this. So my thought was I went through that thought process of like something's not adding up here, and so the only way that I could make sense of that in my head was like, let me compare the staff of people who worked on this, because clearly, like the first one did well. The studio wanted another sequel, so
Yep.
they just hired some other people who didn't understand like the nuance, I guess, of the
Right.
first one, and then just kind of went buck wild with it. That was what I thought.
Right.
The entire same staff plus one person worked on the second.
Who was the plus one?
Somebody who I'm not really familiar with. But so the point is, though, is that like this movie was made by the entirely same people as the first one. Like the new person helped write like the script. In addition to the person who wrote the script of the first one, like they worked together on the sequel,
Right.
and then this new guy directed it. But like,
I really wish that they just like burst in the doors and are like, I got something for you guys. All right, settle down.
but yeah, again, it's just really surprising to me because again, I the only way I could like possibly rationalize this was like this is just people who didn't understand it. But no, it's like the exact same people who what
knew
they
what they
made
were
in the
doing.
first one, and then
Right.
yeah, it's weird. So there's that. And then so before we get like really into actually talking about this, I have like one more thing that I think is important to note.
So I was at the hot dog stand outside of Home Depot.
So when the first movie came out, I remember I was in high school, I think like a junior or something.
When did it happen? Like 2013?
2016.
No, 2016.
I remember seeing the promotional material for that movie. And I remember thinking like, oh, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it
I
did
might
seem
go see
interesting
that.
to me, yeah.
And for whatever reason, I didn't get around to seeing it while it was in theaters.
Right.
But I learned in my research that the original title when they were working on the film was not Don't Breathe. It was actually called A Man in the Dark.
Okay.
Which, not great.
Right.
I think a better title, though, because I remember when the first movie was coming out, there was also another movie that was like being promoted and released at the same time called Lights Out. That was a horror movie that was completely unrelated.
Right.
And I kept confusing the two.
Right.
And so I think that was a much better title.
Right.
But yeah, I don't really see how Don't Breathe like won out in that contest.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
At the end of the first movie, it is very clear that the blind guy is 100% without a doubt in the wrong, a bad guy, like pretty irredeemable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
if my understanding's accurate, you
and
got
it
a hard
is,
sell.
And absolutely.
Hi, everybody. If you want to skip anything that's too graphic, skip to the 18-minute mark. All you need to know is that the blind guy is pretty irredeemable by the end of the first movie.
Which we should talk about this. Let's bring it up. So let's go on. You looked into this more recently.
Let me just give a really brief recap of just bullet points of what I understand of the first movie from what I read.
Yes.
So there's a couple people who are trying to make some cash. One of which who is notable.
Home Alone.
One of that group who is notable is this young girl who is trying to provide for her younger sister and herself and try to like escape an abusive family situation.
Right.
Anyway, so she gets caught up in the wrong crowd. The wrong crowd as it is, then decides, oh, you know what? We found out, or we have heard that there's this blind guy who lives in this house. And there are like rumors surrounding this guy. His daughter died, and like this other girl like killed her in a hit and run accident.
Right.
But this guy's blind, and rumor has it there's like $300,000 in cash like in his house.
Weird.
Yeah, weird.
How is that a rumor that is just spread? Like,
I don't know. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, so they sneak into the house.
He just stands on his front lawn and screams, "I have $300,000."
But no, he's like, "I have $300."
That is exactly how he talks.
I'm pretty surprised with how much I nailed that. But anyway, so the group sneaks in. Blind guy tactics ensue, and all but
he's a bit of a handful, more than you might expect a blind old man to be. But why is he a bit of a handful?
Because
he is an ex-military guy.
He's an ex-military guy.
Yeah.
How good of an ex-military guy?
He is an ex-Navy SEAL guy.
Holy Christ.
Anyway,
oh my God.
So
and you don't want to blind one of them. They'll adapt their senses.
So they break into the house. The blind guy pretty much kills all of them except for the girl. In the time that they were in the house, they discover that, if I read correctly, the girl who killed his daughter in a hit and run accident is like chained in his basement and pregnant. While the old man, the blind guy, is like killing the kids, at one point he accidentally shoots the like pregnant girl who like killed his daughter and is like, no. And so anyway, then he like tries to capture the girl who is who broke into the house and essentially tried to impregnate her to have her give him a replacement daughter. And he's like, I'll let you go once I get a kid, but I need a kid. Right. And anyway, she escapes, and then like she sees on the news that like a bunch of people died in a home invasion, but the guy was acting in self-defense. He never mentions to like anybody that there was a girl and that his cash is gone. She never mentions that she stole the cash,
right?
And they both go their separate ways. Movie ends.
Okay. So is it established firmly that the girl who is chained up that killed the guy's daughter and is pregnant with that guy's kid? Or was she like, or did she just so happen to be pregnant when he kidnapped her and was like, I'm taking your baby or whatever?
I don't think it said, but the Wikipedia article did make sure to mention that with the girl who was then going to be a replacement for the girl who died, meaning the one who broke in.
Yes.
That he did plan to like artificially inseminate her.
Yes, I remember, because he has like a turkey baster or some shit. and like has like his own sperm presumably, and is going to like
you like that? It's gonna fucking work.
Yeah, he's gonna like
I'm
violate
not a
her with
scientist,
the turkey
but-
baster and like squirt it all up in there or whatever. Because I guess. Okay, yeah, okay, that's fair. That I recall that now. Because I guess, yeah, you have a hard sell if, like, your big, like, badass blind dude is also going to be, like, a fucking brute rapist. Like, that's a fucking hard pitch for, like, oh, yeah, this guy. Oh, this guy. Like,
Which, yeah,
you know,
not a whole lot
If he's
better.
going to go around kidnapping and forcibly impregnating people...
He does
can't-
it in a humane way, mind
Yeah.
you.
He
Like,
better
don't
do
you
it as
worry.
detached and scientifically as possible, because he's no basic rapist. He is a scientist about these things, I guess, and that makes it better. It's like, what the fuck? Anyway, yeah. So that shows how far gone this fucker is, and why he deserves to be the monster / bad guy / like spooky guy in a horror film called Don't Breathe, where everyone's running from this fucking guy. Because he needs to be worse than people who would break into a home and steal money for their family. And boy, is he.
So now that we've gotten that somewhat unpacked,
Well, okay. Look, yes, we have, but this is worth mentioning. Like, because they're deciding to make him like the out and out hero of this film. Like, we honestly have to sit here and try to hash out. Like, do they think that, like, the audience is going to be like, well, he didn't respond the way I would respond, but you know, she did kill his daughter, and you know, he's just kind of psychologically torturing her because this is all he knows is like a wounded military. Like, are they trying to make it seem understandable that his reaction as like a crazy ex-Navy SEAL guy would be like, well, she killed my daughter, so I'm gonna like imprison her and make her give me a new one. And yes, that's crazy, but it's not so crazy as for you to be like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, no, fuck you, buddy. What the fuck is that? That's insane. That is beyond redeemable insane. Like, what in the sweet fuck? But the
Yeah.
screamer, are we supposed to walk away from that like, well... Again, like I say, like, who's walking away from that? Like, well, that's not how I would go about it. But
Yeah.
no, it's understandable. There's some nuance to this situation. There's many sides to every story, and things are complicated. Life is crazy. War is hell. You know, like what? Like, what? Like, what could you possibly?
it's very confusing to say the
I'm
least.
The stickler here, like maybe I just like what the fuck? No,
I just really feel like they kind of shoehorned that in, just because like. I don't know. It feels like they didn't really have a plan. Like, they went into the writing room and they're like, all right, a blind guy who is a Navy SEAL starts killing people. What do we got?
right,
Let's like how do we broaden this character and make him like more terrifying than they like how can we up the ante of like a big twist, you know, like, oh, but he's killing all these people, but he's also a rapist that like chains people in basements, you know, like.
Well, because they got a real problem here, where it's like, we're going to make a movie about people who break into a dude's home, and then it's going to be an extreme version of Home Alone, where he starts like coming out. It's not cute traps, as much as it's just like him like fucking these people up. And you know that once he starts doing that shit, there's going to be a wide sector of the audience that's like, yeah, they broke into his house, they were going to steal all his money, and also just loves hardcore competent violence. Like, you fucking love ass kickers ass kicking. That's one of the greatest things human beings ever invented in film, is ass kickers ass kicking. So when this blind ex-Navy SEAL motherfucker starts like seal chopping, I don't know what they do.
Clearly.
All right, just replace
Whatever.
the old man with a seal, and you got yourself a movie right there.
Yeah, it's belts and balls, but they're like full of explosives. And, oh god, it'd be incredible. But yeah, seal chopping people, and then they're gonna be like, "Fuck
New
yeah,
game show.
let's see this dude take out all these home invaders." And then they're like, "Well, the girl does have a starving girl at home." It's like, "That didn't work for Sandman. It won't work for me." And so,
Yeah, Sam Raimi should have learned from that one.
That was Sam Raimi's input. It's just like, it won't be enough. They're like, what? He's like, it won't.
You gotta up it, you know,
It
like.
won't be enough for them to be sympathetic to the characters. You gotta have the Navy SEAL guy do something that's like totally not cool.
You got to make the audience feel bad about what, like, rooting for this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I think what it really comes down to is that, like, I don't think they expected to make a second movie.
Right.
And furthermore, I don't think they expected to make a second movie where he would be the protagonist. Which it's like, I don't understand why they went down that trail then, though.
Yeah.
Well, like, what else are you gonna do? It's gonna be a repeat of the same movie. Like, if it, like,
no, I think there's a matter of like, and let me preface this with like, once we get past all the like weird moral stuff, like this story by itself, if you take it out of the context of the first movie,
Right.
it's actually, like, in my opinion,
right.
a pretty okay movie. It's fine. I was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
But that being said, like, I think it comes down to the fact that not every movie needs a sequel.
Right.
And, like, that's something that, like, Hollywood does not understand right now.
Right.
It's like any movie ever that makes money is getting a sequel.
Right.
And it's like
nobody has any ideas for anything new anymore.
Plus, if they wanted to do a movie with this dude in a positive light, they probably should have said it chronologically before the whole like break in.
Yeah.
And
they
crazy
should have pulled
nonsense.
a Cruella on it.
Right.
Right? It's like, this is why she's like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Frankly. Because I seriously, I don't know. And it shows kind of like a, tone deafness to me. Because I feel like the line they're trying to set with this fella at the end of the first film, at least going into the second film, that is like everything he's done in the first film, the audience is supposed to be like, that was not cool, my man.
Yeah.
No more of that, and we're cool. But, like, just not cool. Not a good look, dude. Like, just don't do any more of that kidnapping and forced impregnation, and we can get behind you. But if we see a slide back into the kidnapping and forced impregnation,
You're done.
we're gonna have, like, you're just gonna have to get help. What the fuck? Like, there's some things that, like, I just don't. Like, it's not something that's just not cool what he did. Like, what he did is like that. Usually, you need to be in jail, my man. Like, you need to be locked away from society, or at least in fucking mental hospital or some shit. Like, holy sweet Christ.
I'm sure there's a lot more of this to come, but are you guys ready to give, like, just kind of a very short phrase as to what your thoughts on the movie was?
I mean, like, for me, it's like, there is no good in this world, Like, there is no good, and like the innocence of Phoenix as a character is kind of like the lasting beacon of like hope and escape from what in this world is
Beyond
like this is
hope.
the cruelest, most terrible world that exists. There are no saints here, and the only way you get out is through baptism by death and trauma.
Mine would be simply if you took a bag of M&Ms and Skittles and threw them in a bowl together.
Okay.
That's this movie.
Right?
Yeah, like
Explain.
Like if like I don't know. There's like a little bit of good. Like once you get like 2 Skittles in a row, like you're like, all right, I'm making good progress, and then you get that M&M, and you're like, fuck, now my mouth is ruined.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Like,
I think
just like
So I think I'm on the same wavelength as you, and I think mine is kind of like that same idea, but in a much less metaphorical way.
But also, you're blind, so you can't see the M&Ms or Skittles. The letters are not apparent to you. You're just grasping.
So my thoughts on it is that, like, as an isolated film, it's a fine movie.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not, the best picture.
I'm kind of
But
glad
like,
I didn't
it
see
was
the first
an
one.
enjoyable, fun movie.
Right.
But when you then take that with or in conjunction with the first movie, which might be a fine movie as well. I haven't seen it.
I've heard good things, frankly.
So these two things, M&Ms and Skittles, are fine on their own. But when you take the M&Ms and the Skittles together, they leave a weird taste in your mouth.
Right. And I guess
they do not mix well unless you're into that.
If I could be more concise, I guess I would say there are no Skittles in these M&Ms. The Skittles being good and the M&Ms being the bad. Well, I guess the Skittles would be bad because they're kind of soury and sugary as opposed to like chocolatey goodness. That is.
Hey,
M&Ms.
that's an opinion right there.
Yeah, whatever. They have sour Skittles as a pack you can get. They don't have
but you
sour
could probably
M&Ms
tell them apart
as
from
a
the
pack you can
M&Ms
get.
pretty
Yeah, 'cause
easily.
they got those little like that sugar coating on the
Right, exactly. So you could take Skittles and put them on the sour spectrum before you can take M&Ms and put them in the sour
That
spectrum.
just means they have
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
checkmate.
right, buddy.
All right.
That's right. you were
got
about
me.
to explain exactly why that's correct. Anyway.
I'm gonna invent sour M&Ms just to spite you.
I'm gonna make sweet Skittles, chocolate filled Skittles. Wait. Wait, what would we call them?
Are you
Skittle M's.
are you guys ready to
I would love
Middles?
Skittle M's. That would be incredible. Oh my god.
Skittle M's kind of sounds like something that like the parents in Stuart Little would say. Skittle M, Skittle O.
Skittle M. Well, looks like we got to skittle them out of here.
Oh man. Are you guys ready to talk about the plot?
What?
I guess,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Now,
What
the plot,
now?
the Skittles, if you would. A fire.
The movie begins with a house erupting in flames.
Which I just want to add was very poorly CGI'd. Like I,
I didn't
noticed that
notice.
at the first. I was like,
the
"Oh,
girl
that looks
was
really
CGI.
bad."
Yes, that I did notice, and I was like
that?
really confused. That was kind of fucking with me. I was really, I was just again I was so confused. CGI girl, CGI house fire, and the CGI girl is walking down a presumably not CGI street, and
Presumably, we can only
and
hope.
collapses onto the street.
And whatever model they were using for the CGI girl, she had a very blocky, like, kneel down and face down. Like, that. It was so apparent it was CGI because it was such an unnatural motion.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know how it made it past editing.
It was definitely a very graceful fall.
yeah, she conks out onto the concrete,
Uh-huh.
and
Good alliteration there.
thank
Thank
you. And then title card. 8 years later.
Yep.
And so then we see a girl who does not, in my opinion, look 8 years older than the
Nope.
CGI model that we
Not at
just
all.
saw.
No.
Looks like the exact same person.
I thought the same thing as well, which is why I was extremely
She
confused.
doesn't age.
So we see this girl
so what is she?
kind
Anyway.
of wandering around in this like wooded
How old do you
area.
figure she is? Like 14, 15?
No.
No.
Well, she can't be 8.
10,
Yeah, I figured probably closer to 10.
11.
The girl walking out of that house
12.
was at least 5 years of age.
I don't know. In some of the flashbacks, she seemed younger when it looked less CGI'd.
Look, I don't even know. Like, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you the age of this person. I almost
Let me pull up the
couldn't.
cast. Maybe I can kind of we can get an age range of what the actual.
Oh, that girl, 35. Okay. Alrighty.
CGI is a hell of a thing.
We can make young Paul McCartney and Beck music videos. We can make...
I gotta say, you're right on the money that the actress is 14. I don't know if that's to say that she is 14 in the movie. Not important. It's a young girl.
Feels important to me, buddy.
A young girl in a wooded area, wandering about, seems to be very on edge, being very aware of her surroundings.
You're like sticks breaking and
Yeah, being very cautious of stepping on twigs and causing a lot of noises and such.
Woods noises.
And then we hear a dog bark, a big, mean dog. And so she starts running. And I do have to say that she was kind of keeping a light jog as this dog was like full on sprinting.
Yeah.
and
this
managed
dog
to
was
keep,
hauling ass.
Keep a good distance all the
is
same.
true. This is true.
So she narrowly escapes the dog by climbing a fence, running around, and then she finds a pickup truck, I think, or some kind of car.
It's like a broken down car or something like
it's
that.
just in the middle of the woods. And she goes in it and finds a pistol. And then she's kind of examining this. And then a figure appears behind her and like covers her mouth, takes the gun away, and she has a bit of a struggle. And then we hear, "You failed."
Yeah, her mistake was breathing.
Yeah, it's the whole.
Like, they really tried to drive that point home, and no one seems to pick up on it.
Yeah,
Just don't
absolutely.
breathe and you'll be fine.
Yet.
Yeah, so then it's revealed that it is the blind man. The blind guy, we then learn, is a father to this girl. And he's like, "Oh, you lost."
Failed.
Yeah.
You failed survival.
Yeah, survival, that's what he called it.
And she was like, "What? I got the gun."
Yeah, I have
He
the
was
gun.
like, "Yeah."
Please do your impression.
I have the gun.
Oh God, we gotta pass all his lines to you. This is great. Yeah, he mentions that she's like, I did real well, and he's like, I have the gun in my hands right now. You failed, and she's like,
And the dog comes up all friendly, like, she's like, "Oh, you almost had me this time."
Yeah.
Skip.
Yeah.
Rough.
Oh, Shadow.
Shadow, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I believe they are back in the home.
Yeah.
Where the girl is
Blind man, dog, and daughter.
Yeah, and the blind man is reading Braille.
Yes.
And the girl is cutting his hair.
For 2 bits.
The girl's name is Phoenix, by the way.
That's not yet.
No, it is.
No, I think from the beginning it is.
No, because he calls her Belle or some shit.
I think you were wrong.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
No, okay. All right. You keep talking. I'm going to look into this.
Okay. So then, so she cuts his hair, and she's like, "Can I go into town?" He's like, "No."
You failed.
And
Yeah, he's like, you got to pass all your tests first.
and she's like, "Huh."
Her final test, B35. Are you 35 yet? No,
Yeah.
can't go into town. Sorry, you got to stay here at home.
And then a truck, van, pulls up, and a young lady gets out of the car and is like, "Hey, blind old man, do you want me to take Phoenix today?"
No way.
Brian, back me up here.
No,
What?
No,
The lady, she pulls up. She's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, can I take Phoenix with me?"
I
And he's
thought
like,
yeah.
she came with the
No.
name herself.
No,
so that's probably
no.
all me.
This lady pulls up in a van, and she's like, "I got these." I think she has plants or something. And she was like, "I have all the usual stuff as well as the 2 ferns and the blah 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 blah." And then at which point she's like, "You want me to take Phoenix into town?" And he's like, "No." And she's like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "I just said no."
And she's like, if you keep her boxed up, she's gonna start disobeying you because she's constantly boxed up. So
keep
like,
her on a leash.
give
and
her
she'll break
some
free of the
freedom.
leash or some
yeah.
shit like that.
She's like, loosen the leash or she's gonna bite it off, which is essentially saying like, pick your battles, man. Because if you're this restrictive all the time, eventually she's just gonna go around you and behind your back. And he's like, I acknowledge your wisdom in this matter.
Yeah, and then he then tells the
He
daughter,
caves.
Phoenix. Yeah, he caves.
Yeah. Some seal. Anyway.
weak.
And he lets Phoenix go off with this lady whose name I don't remember. And then they go into town, or
Right.
driving into town, and the lady driving the van is
Hernandez.
like- Hernandez, there we go. Hernandez, lady driving the van, says to Phoenix, she's like, "You want to go visit your mom?" And she's like, "But my dad says that I can't." She's like, "I won't tell if you don't tell." And she's like, "Okay." So then they pull up to the house that we saw on fire earlier, and it is
Crispy.
yeah, it's been burned
Toasty.
up and abandoned. There's graffiti and such on it, and also in the car, this little girl was singing this song pretty terribly.
Green finch and linnet bird, nightingale.
Yeah, Don't Breathe 2 is actually a musical.
Yeah, she does her rendition of Green finch, linnet bird from Sweeney Todd.
Is that what it is?
No.
I was like, I don't know. I don't know Sweeney
No,
Todd.
because people fucking love giving like trapped women songs about birds and their freedom, and she's like, "I wish I could fly amongst the birds." And
Yeah.
that's not explicitly what it is, but the symbolism is pretty clear when she's
She's
just
like about singing.
"Blackbird, fly."
Like,
Yeah.
Singing
But-
bird, let me sing some.
But it's
something.
bad, and you should just replace it with Green finch, linnet bird from Sweeney Todd. It'll sound better, and it'll be right on point. It's all the same message. She's trapped. She's singing about birds.
They should replace it with Monster by Skillet.
Fly, blackbird.
And so the little girl then goes into the house that was presumably her mother's, and Hernandez stays in the car, and the girl then goes, and I guess there were some trinkets and stuff there that were there from prior visits.
Yeah.
But anyway, she goes up to this little thing that has all the trinkets on it and kind of is singing her song, and then she hears the like boards creaking and stuff, and gets spooked by this, so she leaves.
She gets the hell out, like every good like horror character should.
Yep.
You don't stay, you get out.
Yeah,
You go.
Get out. Not to be confused.
Go
with
on,
the hit
get.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, different one.
She gets in the van, and Hernandez goes to like a market or some shit. And the girl gets out of the van at this point, and I guess has like a favorite playground across the street from said market, where there's like children playing on a merry-go-round and things like that.
Don't forget that while Hernandez is in the market, there's a newscast that is talking about the weather.
Yes.
And also, there happens to be a fella in the area who is harvesting organs.
Yeah.
and selling them.
Yep. But that's completely unrelated. I don't know why you even bother bringing that up.
It's just the news, It's world building.
Yeah. Okay. So Oregon harvester going around. For all we know, it's the blind man, and the weather is acting up. It's going to be 65 today, 63 tomorrow.
A little cloudy.
So a little cloudy. Yeah. Sun peeking through them clouds. Get ready, tri-state area. Yeah, so she's on the playground, and this playground, I guess, assumably, is the playground of what is like a children's home for destitute and parentless children. It's like a shelter, an orphanage. And so she hangs out on the swing set and visualizes herself going up to the other kids and daring to be like, "Can I play with you? I'm really smart." And but that's just a dream and a vision, and she's too nervous or too apprehensive to go try it out. So she doesn't actually walk up to them. She just dreams a dream of playing with these children while her and Shadow hang out near the steps, swings, and then Hernandez comes back out.
Yeah, and then they go. She goes back to the van, but then she's like, "No, I need to use the bathroom first. Like, don't be too long. I don't want your dad killing me or some shit." She would do. And then she goes in the bathroom.
Sings her song.
Yep, sings her song. And she's washing her hands, and then the camera pans up, and there's a guy behind her, which I'm like, how do you not see him? He's like a tall dude, and he's wearing all black against like a red, huh?
He's a grown man.
Yeah.
In presumably the women's bathroom at this playground.
You have to be focused on the hand washing to miss the dude in the mirror.
Even still, she came out of the stall and walked to the sink.
That's when he came in. Maybe that's
I don't know.
Like he was sitting there for a little while. I don't know. Posted up on the wall.
Presences. He seems like he's always been wherever he is.
Oh, you know what?
Anyway, creepy dude.
No, you know what? He wasn't breathing.
Oh, that's it. That's the key. He was doing the thing.
I know, guys.
We're so dumb.
It's not rocket science.
We're so dumb, of course. Anyway, yeah.
So and then he's kind of creepy.
Man in the little girl's room.
I leaned over to Mike at this point, and this guy, if he had a Brooklyn accent, he would be the most stereotypical comic book bad guy you've ever seen. He's like, hey, gorgeous, how you doing? Oh, man, you don't need to be afraid of me. I ain't no kind of creep or nothing.
Right. And this girl's between the age of 8 and 15. And basically, the first thing he says to her is pretty much just like, "Hey, beautiful." It's just
that's not how you approach a child.
Okay.
You also probably shouldn't be in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Weird.
But yeah, and then so they get into this this thing, and she's like, "I think I probably should leave." And then the dog comes up from behind him, and he's like, "Oh shit." And she's like, "Yeah, if I snap my fingers, I'll bite your dick off," or some shit like that.
That's perfect, frankly. She says testicles, but I prefer he'll bite your dick off.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Oh, well, you don't have to be afraid." And she's like, "Who said I was afraid?" And honestly, fucking badass kid right here.
She should have head faked him.
Made him flinch. That's what I thought, fucker. That's what I thought, man.
Wish.
Don't fuck with me.
But yeah, so on her way out, though, it's also probably important to note that it has been established that she has this naturally occurring gray streak in her hair, or white streak.
Rogue from the X-Men.
Exactly, yeah. It's very reminiscent of that. Yeah. And she did say to the father at one point, "Man, it's crazy I have this thing.
Yeah.
Did I get it from my mom?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Sure.
So as she's walking past this creepy dude in the bathroom, after she has sufficiently made him back down enough to let her out,
she's like, "You don't intimidate me."
As she was walking by, he puts out his fingers and runs his fingers through her hair, but specifically seems to kind of be touching the gray streak in her hair.
And gives it a little smell, which is weird. I don't think he actually does that,
No.
but he really fucking might as well have. That's his entire character, energy.
Yeah, so then she gets into the van, and Hernandez is like, "You good?" She's like, "Just some weirdo." She's like, "Yep."
Town's full of them.
Yeah, no shortage of them around here.
And then they go back to the house.
Yay.
Well, and then the dude gets in a truck, and he tells the truck comrades to follow them.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, he's like, all right, we're going to follow that truck. And then they arrive back at, like, La Casa Blind. And, yeah. What?
That was good.
Okay, yeah. Yes. And Phoenix and Hernandez get out of the car. And Phoenix is like, boy, I had fun. In my child whimsy, I had so much fun. And, the blind father can't see this whimsy. So he just stares into the middle distance, and Hernandez is like, she had so much fun, so now he knows, and it's like, I would take her next week if you want, and he's like, no, today. Okay, please go on.
No.
Yeah, he's more or less just like, yeah, no, today's enough. Anyway, see you in 5 years. No, but yeah. So
And then Hernandez just kind of says what everybody in the theater presumably is thinking, and it's like, you're a bad man.
Yeah,
you're
and
bad.
He like
bad
kind of
man.
like he kind of is just like, and just kind of like sits there like he kind of like puts his head down in like a sad manner.
Yeah,
and then
like a dog being scolded or something.
Exactly.
And this is where the film, like, really, they're starting to really try to push this point home, where it's like, look, he knows what he did was wrong, and he carries that burden much more than any of your criticism or ridicule could possibly foist upon him. So trust us, he feels all the pain that you want him to feel, and nothing you could say to him could make him feel any worse than he already does about himself. So let's not go shaming him any further. Thank you very much.
But what I love about this is that, so she's like, you're a bad man and you've done bad things. And so
bad man.
We as the audience are not aware of like who this lady is and what she knows.
Right. Or when she knew it.
Exactly. Or how she knew it.
Yeah, what? It's Watergate, Nate. I'm talking about Watergate.
So this we don't know what this lady does or does not know, and she says this, and he kind of like slumps his head down, and it's just kind of like this pause for dramatic effect until she then goes, "But we've all done things wrong."
Well, no,
and then she's like, "I get it. You're a veteran. You've seen terrible things in war." And then, like, as she says that, he's like, "Oh, thank God she doesn't know." And his head kind of like tilts up slightly. He's like, "Woo!"
Yeah,
dodged the bullet on that one.
Well, the way she breaks like the "I'm calling you a bad person" thing is she just goes, "You're a bad man, and you've done terrible things. At least I know that's what you tell yourself." And it's just like, okay,
She doesn't know shit. I'm in the clear.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he does this thing. Like, it's his, like, pained expression where, like, he drops his jaw and quivers his lower lip a little bit and does, like, a kind of thing, you know? Yeah. So he starts doing that. And then she's like, war is hell. And he's like,
he
just
still
the
does
war
it,
is
but a
hell
little
thing.
less.
Yeah. Because he's more or less just like, oh, yeah, the war is hell thing. Yeah, war is hell.
That's the terrible
And you
things
can
that
tell,
I've known.
frankly, the blind man's actor is good at what he does.
No, he's very good.
Like he has good nuance in his performance and really does sell pain pretty well. So good on him.
Honestly, I liked most of the acting.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was all pretty on point. You know, everyone did their jobs pretty
Way better than Escape Room 2.
Yeah, leagues, fucking leagues.
So then I think it cuts to presumably later that evening. And Phoenix is in her bedroom, and the old man comes in, and she's like, "I want to go to school next year." And he's like, "You do homeschool. It's safe." And she's like, "I don't want to be safe. I want to be normal." And then he's like, "Enough!" And then they have this weird little standoff, and then that's... more or less
She's just like, "Father, I'm lonesome."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He's
yeah.
like,
"No, you're not. You don't know real loneliness. You have me."
and then she says, "You're not enough."
And then he closes the door.
Very slowly. Very, very slowly, as if he
'Cause
just
feels
took a
the
bullet
truth
or
of that
something.
statement. He feels the truth of that statement. He's not enough for this
not.
girl's proper growth and development.
So then
They don't teach survival at the local public school. What is a father to do?
You should be learning about handguns and running away from dogs.
I mean, to be fair, everything that he taught her came pretty well in handy.
That's because
you know?
he knows the kind of person he is and the legacy he left behind.
Yeah,
and
no,
he's
that's
like,
very true.
anybody within 10 meters of me is in mortal danger. And so we must be training for this.
Very true. So Hernandez is trying to get home, and she presumably is not far from the blind man's home.
Yes.
And blocking the road is a truck, and it's just sitting
A
there.
silver truck.
Have we seen this before? And so she she gets out of the car, or I think she honks the horn first. Nothing happens. She gets out of the car, and then she approaches said vehicle and is like, hey, do you mind fucking moving your car, please?
It's the only road back to town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're blocking the one road. And they have a dog in the back of the truck in the cargo bed, just like, "Roo."
And so then we see the
They just
same...
get like creepier, and then she like
Yeah.
flashes a piece.
Yeah, and they're
Wait, it's
like,
the same
"Are
fella
you-"
that we saw
Yeah, right.
at the bathroom scenario.
Yeah, because they're like, are you a war veteran? And she goes, yes. And they go, Iraq? And she goes, no, Korea. It's like, fucking, what other... Look at your age range, and you tell me what war you participated in. What? Fucking A. Like, the only one in the past 20 years. Like, you know, dude, she's like 35. She's not from fucking Vietnam. Like, anyway.
Which also, if it felt a little weird, again, given current world situations, when it's
Right.
like, yeah, I served in Iraq. And it's like,
Well, yeah,
They were like,
given the literal current situation. But yeah, because
Anyway.
they're like, and then they're like, we were dishonorably discharged from a dishonorable war. And it's like, okay.
Tell me, was that was that so dishonorable or like
God. It's like,
whatever?
So does that
like-
make us honorable in some weird, warped kind of cosmic sense?
and she's like,
what
no,
are you
move your car.
smoking?
Yeah. She's like, okay, my man, I'm going to flash my pistol, and you should get out of here.
They're like, fine.
Yes, and then she goes back to her van, and we see the truck moving, presumably to let her through.
She takes down the license plate.
Mm-hmm. Because she's going to call the police.
Uh-huh.
And so then she turns on her car, starts to get moving, and there's someone in the car
first
with her.
jump scare, the first one.
Yeah, so then we see this guy emerge from the shadows of her van and start choking her with something.
Seatbelt.
I'm thoroughly convinced they cast this guy because they're like, we want someone who looks just like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Honestly, yeah, that's
And acts just like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
wild card.
Yeah, more or less. Woo! And he has his favorite hammer, which we'll come to know. I guess it's like a custom hammer. I don't know what the fuck the deal
Yeah.
is.
He used it in the war.
It is, yeah, it's his war hammer, but not that kind
War
of war
hammer.
Different Warhammer.
Different, not like a war hammer.
It was
This one-
huge. It was like a
Just the hammer
fucking
that you would use in war.
Yeah, you could do
like
home
Thor's
repair
hammer,
with
you
this
know,
hammer.
like it was.
But it has like a studded handle, and he has a real fixation with it. So he takes his trusty hammer.
As he's choking her and she's driving and trying to not die.
Yeah, she's trying to reach her gun, but the way he's choking her is with like a ratchet strap to her headrest of her car, so she has mobility issues right now. What with that? So she's like fastened to her seat as he starts caving her skull in with his trusty hammer. Bang, bang, Bill's trusty hammer came down.
Which honestly,
No, they're
honestly, I wasn't expecting them to jump into that like so quickly, and I kind of appreciate it because
Yeah.
I just wanted to get to the point, you know.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And they definitely did a good job of like going all in on that one. I did feel that was probably the only death that I was like, oh no, but they were cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody else, I was like, you had it coming.
Yeah, very true. But yeah, so she dies, unfortunately.
I don't know the guy's name, but I'm just calling him Bill.
I think it was
was
JB,
JD.
actually. I don't
JD?
think it was officially said, but it
It's
said on
on his-
their,
yeah.
their uniform that
Yeah.
they had.
Name tag.
Oh, wait. Somebody was named like Jim Bob or some shit.
That's probably Jim Bob.
Was that his actual name?
That was probably Jim Bob
that
because
his
it said
actual name?
JB, and I'm pretty
thought
sure
it was
there
a
was a Jim
D,
Bob.
but-
in the
I think it
credits.
was a B.
In the credits, somebody was named like, hyphenated trailer name. I forget what
all
though.
right, I'll look it up while you
Right.
guys continue.
I'm going Bill.
So yeah, that happens. And what?
And they start proceeding up to the house. But at this
Right.
time, Shadow is out and about, just doing his like daily eating thing on the porch.
Phoenix is looking at the pamphlet for the like orphanage thing.
Yeah, singing a song, longing for home.
Yeah, and then Shadow hears something and does the dog thing where they're like, "I'm gonna go inspect."
And I'll be honest, when they had like their dog in the crate in the back of the bed, I honestly thought that was going to be like their counter dog. They're like, "Go."
Dog fight.
Yeah, like they seem like the type, but that's not
It
what
was
they chose
Jim
to
Bob.
do. Jim Bob.
Ah.
See, there you go. Car repair and hammer services. But yeah, so Shadow smells something.
Goes to
goes-
investigate.
Uh-huh.
And I don't really know what happened, so if somebody can like enlighten me, I think they shot at the dog and missed.
Yeah, I think so. My guess is that yes, they shot at the dog and missed because they wanted to like have it be like, yeah, the dog dies and there is a later reveal upon that. But they also were like, we don't want to show the dog dying,
Right,
So
right.
we're just going to imply what's going to happen. Show the dog missing, and then you will see that the dog is dead and infer what happened.
Now, that's fine because I really didn't want to see a dog dying, but like I guess it like heightens tension because you don't know what happened to the dog until later. But like,
What's interesting about the way they did it is that they kind of do like a nod and reveal that Jim Bob is the one who shot Shadow. Because when Phoenix is making her way out the back door, later, spoiler, by the way,
I see.
Jim Bob also does like a shot next to her in the same style that he did a shot next to Shadow. And so, like, you can tell Jim Bob has a propensity for, like, a 1 warning shot and then 2 actual death shot. I choose to believe it's
There you
Jim
go.
Bob, but
I
I like
like
your
that. No,
theory
that
about
is
them
good.
not
Yeah,
wanting
yeah,
to
yeah.
shoot a dog on camera.
a deep dive.
Yeah.
That's probably fair.
But yeah, so Shadow goes to investigate. Shot. The dog is like, oh, and
Yeah.
then it cuts.
the death call of the dog.
And it's
Tim
like
Allen.
the dog is confused. It's
Yeah,
like,
the dog is
"Oh."
actually Tim Allen.
Yeah, it heard the bullet and was like, "What was that?" Oh,
And then it cuts to old man Jenkins
Yeah.
trying to grabbing some dog food.
yeah. He's getting ready
and
to
he's like-
feed Shadow.
Yeah, and he's shaking it up, you know. and-
Presumably, Shadow runs at the sound of the shaking food,
Makes sense.
which dogs tend to do.
Yeah.
But Shadow's not come running.
And then he goes. I don't know how much time has gone by where he would expect that the dog would finish all like his meal from before, but like
Right.
he realized something was wrong because he like put his hand on the food and realized it wasn't like eaten. And I'm like, well, why though? Like how long?
Yeah.
Like how long has it been? And like
exactly.
if it was already feeding time, like what? How would that tip you off? So I was a
Yeah.
little bit like I think that was just like another not like thing for him to like oh no, the dog's missing, you know.
Yeah.
It's not just that he's like wandered off or whatever.
But that
Yeah,
didn't
some
make sense
kind
to
of
me.
thing to make him be like, oh,
yeah, no, that
something's
is a
not
good
right.
point. I don't know how often he feeds Shadow or why the food bowl would
But
be
it was, like, full,
now, as
and then, like-
opposed to- yeah, exactly.
And then why would he feed him in the first? Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
It seemed like it was just recently topped off, unless
Yeah.
the dog is not eating, and then that.
assumably Shadow starts to eat the food as soon as it is poured, right? So like, what could have possibly been anyway? An excellent point.
Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah,
right,
no, you're
Mr.
right.
Ramey a letter.
Listen,
Dear
that dog food.
breathed 2 people.
You should
Of-
have co-produced them into thinking this out.
Of all the gripes I could possibly have with the framing and delivery of this film, I only have one note. Have you ever fed a dog before?
Do you know how dogs eat?
You tell me a single dog that you lay the food down and that dog goes, all right, I'll return to this at a later point. Anyway.
So yeah, he starts kind of getting worried,
he's
and
like-
now he's yelling,
Shadow.
which I don't know how the dog would hear, but it's a dog. It probably worked.
Yeah.
He also does
100%.
some
If it can hear
whistling.
shaking food-
Yeah, the whistling came through.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then he is searching for Shadow.
Yep.
Grabs his coat, starts
Yeah,
walking.
I think he walks inside. If I'm not mistaken, pretty much like when he goes in and gets his coat, we then see that the intruders are in the home, but he
Yes.
does not
No.
notice. And then he goes to search for Shadow.
Yep.
And we have established that there are 5 intruders at this
Thought
point.
there was 4.
Well, because there was 4 in the pickup
truck.
truck in full capacity.
Right, and
one
then the dude
hiding in the back
yeah,
seat.
Yeah.
To murder Hernandez.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 5. So we
Well,
know there's
props-
5 and a dog.
Props to the first two guys that came in. They didn't breathe and
Yeah.
weren't caught. So
Yeah, completely unnoticed.
they knew the title of the movie, and
yeah, 100%.
Then the blind man goes searching for Shadow.
Because we know there's 3 people breaking into the house right now. Because they did an establishing shot of the 3 of them standing outside before the
there's
Shadow
2
thing.
in the house and then 1 outside, I think.
I believe
Yes.
you're right. Yes. So we see the 2, one of which is Jim Bob. The other one, I think, from the IMDb is Duke.
Duke, yeah.
And so the
He's
2
kind
of
of like
them.
the muscle of the group.
Yeah, he does seem to be.
He's like big man.
Like maybe like second. I don't know.
So
I don't know a hierarchy of them.
they start searching through the house for Phoenix.
Presumably.
And Duke comes pretty darn close. We see that Phoenix is hiding under the bed.
Because they turn on a light and she's like, well, why does my dad need to turn on a light? He's fucking
She's like,
blind.
Yeah.
And then she sees the boots and is like, that's not my fucking dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then hides under the bed.
Yeah, Phoenix is clever and almost past survival, which hopefully will be enough for her to get through this ordeal.
Hopefully be enough for her to survive. And so
Let's hope
she,
B+ in survival class is enough to get through this thing.
So she hides under the bed. Duke lifts up the bed, but it's not, or there's nothing under the bed. Ooh. And then he starts searching around, and we see that Phoenix has made her way under this like
Dresser,
like dresser kind of.
It's a wardrobe.
Yeah, wardrobe.
Have you never seen Lion, the Witch, and the?
Yeah, but that one goes all the way down.
But yeah, so she's hiding
That is
under
true,
the
though. It goes all the way
wardrobe.
down, yes.
And then Duke is looking around. He's looking inside the wardrobe, and then she has a watch on her hand. And
Seems to be, it might be like a smartwatch or something.
Yeah, it did kind of seem like that.
Yeah.
But she takes it off and puts something into it.
Yeah,
and
fiddles
then
with it.
tosses it. And then we see her like silently counting to herself. And then as she counts, the watch goes off. So presumably she put like a timer on.
Yeah, she set a timer
Mm-hmm.
and starts.
And then Duke then goes to investigate that, and then she uses this to sneak away. And she gets into the hallway, where then she sees Jim Bob getting ready to come up the steps. And then we also know that Duke is about to come into the hallway, and then she, just with enough timing, I think at this point, then like hops over the banister.
Turns the light off.
Yeah, she turns the light off. That's right.
And then hops the banister while they're distracted. And then Duke looks at JB like, dude, I was using that. But they didn't say it, but like it was like they got the good face and then
Their eyes.
Yeah,
He was like,
yeah.
he was like, don't turn the light off. He didn't. They didn't,
Didn't
say
say it,
anything.
but
this
it
is
looked-
all unspoken.
Yeah,
They said it with
they
their
have that
eyes.
kind of
Actors.
bond.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
you know.
And then
job,
we see Phoenix hanging on
Doing a
to
dead hang.
yeah,
Impressive.
Yeah,
exactly.
honestly.
And then I believe she times it out with like them stepping on the floor, so that way they don't notice the thump of her falling onto the ground.
Yeah.
She then is in the downstairs, and she
She goes to the front door, and then somebody is trying to get into the front door, which is
Yeah.
presumably
The
the
third person.
third. Yeah. And then she books it into like the whatever.
and I guess
like
he
a
didn't
study,
see her through the window.
Which, okay, sure.
Let's go for it. Wow.
He was like pretty much all up in there, but like,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I expected him to be like, "Hey guys,
It's
here
her."
she is,"
Yeah,
but
right.
no, that didn't happen. So again,
And it's-
I'm just assuming he didn't see her somehow.
and he tries to open up the door and it doesn't open, but the door is one of those doors with like the windows on it.
Yeah.
And like, if you're just trying to get in and you don't really care what happens, just break the glass.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't think like, unless you don't want to make noise to alert the guy. I don't know. But anyway, she goes
I feel
into
like
the
if you want to
study.
make noise to alert the guy, like pounding on the front door and trying to like shoulder it in is probably not the quietest activity to undergo.
Yeah, and they're still trying to be pretty silent.
But yeah, so she is hiding about, and I think this might be the point where it cuts to the blind man in the woods.
real quick though, it's like a Scooby-Doo montage thing. Like she's like ducking under things, and like there will be frames where like they'll check a closet and you don't see where she goes, but they'll check a closet and then leave the closet, and then she's in the closet, but she was hiding behind some books. Like it's just like she's all over the place. Like you're not
really sure how she gets in these places. It really does kind of give the effect of like that Scooby-Doo thing where they'll go in a door on the right side of the screen and then come out of a door on the left side of the screen.
Yeah.
And you're just like, is there a secret passage to the cupboard under the stairs that she's hiding in? How did she get there? Anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, she's sufficiently hiding from these intruders.
But furthermore, I bring that up, but like honestly, the cinematography and care put into this film is so evident that I'm almost certain I missed something. Like, this is one of the few films where I'm willing to be like, if I don't see how she got in there, I'm sure it was established or like not seen on camera. Like, I'm sure this isn't like a continuity thing because the people who did this film and the framing for this film clearly took a lot of care with it. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
So then we see Blind Man in the forest who finds the body of Shadow, and he then learns that Shadow has died. And while he is grieving the loss of Shadow, he's like touching the body as a blind person would do.
Right.
And he finds a wound. And then through further investigation, finds that it is a bullet hole.
Further investigation, he reaches into that wound and pulls out a bullet.
Yeah.
That's pretty further.
Digging. He starts fucking digging.
Yeah.
Like, it's hardcore.
But yeah, so then he's like, oh shit.
Yeah, because he's just like, Shadow has died. I'm sorry your old age has taken you. And then like feels blood and is like, Shadow was murdered.
By a bullet, no less.
The evidence.
Yeah, so
this will stand up in court.
Right.
So he presumably then books it to the house. And then, again, we cut back to Phoenix in the like understairs cupboard.
Yeah.
And she sees that the back door is slightly open askew.
Dun, dun.
And she decides that now is the time for her to make an escape. So she gets out of the cupboard carefully and starts heading towards the door. And right as she gets towards the door, pew!
Yep.
And there's a bullet that just barely misses her. And then we see JB pointing with the gun, and he kind of like gives her a nice little point to step away from the door.
Which I'm pretty sure it was Hernandez's gun because it was that shiny, because hers was shiny, and that one was also, and he killed her, so
that makes sense.
Adds up.
So then
Excellent point.
he has her like standing like in front of the refrigerator or something, and then he is in front of the door that she was about to try to escape from.
Somehow they turn. Like, I don't remember how exactly, but he gets in front of the door.
Because she was by the door,
over.
So he's like, all right, you need to step away from the door, and I'm going to guard the door.
Yeah, he closes
That's my
it
best
and then
guess.
like turns around and points the gun, and then all of a sudden, psh, the hands come through the back door and grab him and start choking him out.
Yeah.
And
Like,
he like lifts the hand up and he starts trying to get the bullets out, so he doesn't have any more bullets left to shoot with.
I didn't think of that. But yeah, so then Blind Man's trying to incapacitate him.
Yep.
The rest of the people are now aware
There's a real
that
ruckus
this is
going
going on.
on, yeah.
And so then I think the Blind Man might even say to, what's her name, like, go downstairs.
He says, go to your box.
Oh, okay, I didn't. Yeah, so go to her box. And
Yeah.
then at this point, Jim Bob, takes his old trusty hammer and sinks the claw end right into the blind guy's shoulder. And he's like, oh, my shoulder.
Yep.
Kind of lets
He's like,
go.
I can't rear naked choke you with a bad shoulder anymore.
And so then
Duke comes in.
Yeah, so at that time, Phoenix is standing at the top of the stairs, leading into like the basement. And
She's trying to close the door, but then the Duke is just kind of
Duke.
just kind of kicks it in and
he gives it
hits
a
her
hard
head, and
check.
she falls down all of the steps. And I'm like, she still got up, and I'm like, you took that like a champ. Like, holy shit.
That's because she aced falling down the stairs class.
Honestly, she rolled with it, you know. Like,
she did.
She's like, I'm going to push you down these stairs, and you take it well now.
And then I think then I think Jim Bob was like, go get her.
Yeah.
And then she gets up and she's like stumbling, like she looks not. She's up, but she's like did definitely take a knock.
She's going.
So here comes Duke, chasing her and following her. And then she goes to her box, which
this
is
box was established, like we saw it
yes.
before.
Yeah,
so.
it looks like a small
Like a
shipping
crate,
container,
Yeah.
but like child sized.
Right.
Yeah, so she gets in there and locks it just in time. He's like, "Oh, I can't get in there."
Yeah, and he's like,
And then there's like a
"Open this
ventilation
box
at the top.
for breathing.
Oh yeah, though that's the whole point of the movie. Is not
what
to
else would it be
breathe.
put in there for?
I don't know. I thought that was a funny bit.
What?
Presumably, that's why it's there for.
Oh, I see.
Um,
Boo. Boo.
so
Which honestly, I feel like because the Duke had a gun, I don't know, like. He could have like pointed at the top of the vent and held it like, I'm going to shoot you if you don't open this goddamn door.
well,
like,
that was one thing I was kind of confused about through this because like it was made pretty clear that like they want the girl alive,
Right.
you know, and I don't.
Well, they said we'd prefer to have the girl alive.
I didn't
well,
hear
they
that,
definitely
maybe.
needed the girl alive.
Yeah,
But they didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, I just know that there were some times where it was like, my best guess is that like Duke was like bluffing. Where he's like, "Oh, I'll kill her," just to like
Right.
goad the blind man out. But I also was
Could be.
like, or is he just really ready to kill her? Which seems to be pretty
Well, that's what
counter
he
to their goal.
says to the blind man. He's like, we'd rather have her alive, but...
But again, I kind of assumed that was him bluffing. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, I mean, could
Anyway,
have been.
unimportant at this moment.
But I mean,
Uh,
like, she definitely would have died from the things he did, so...
Yeah, that's true. So she is then in this box, safe, and the blind man has escaped from. Well, I mean, yeah, he after getting sunk in the shoulder with the claw end of the hammer, runs off, and then goes into I guess the garage that is nearby, and there's like a little bathroom, I guess, and he's patching himself up.
No, he's doing it right on the workbench, I think.
Oh, okay.
Because he just
Yeah.
grabs some like Gorilla Glue or some shit and just
Yeah,
like,
he puts some super glue on his cut and like holds it together, and it's like,
Yeah, exactly like that. Yeah, because he's like, well, I gotta solder this wound somehow, I guess. I'll use super glue.
And at this point, we are introduced, or somewhat introduced, I guess, to the third intruder, who I guess has been like patrolling the outside,
And he
but
has
managed to
vanilla
miss
ice
the
blonde
blind
hair.
guy
I was
run
gonna
up
say
to
Eminem
the window.
knockoff.
blonde
I thought he
hair.
looked like modern day Justin Bieber.
Yep,
honestly.
exactly that. So his blonde, short hair.
But yeah, so then he is holding his gun sideways. He's got his hood up,
Uh-huh.
and he's like, "All
He's
right,
got
bro,
this."
where you at, bro?"
Yep.
And so anyway, so he sees the blood on the handle of the garage
Yes.
door. And so
Sherlock
he-
fucking
yeah.
Holmes.
Yeah, some patrolman. You're absolutely right, though. Like he's supposed to be scanning the perimeter, and this blind dude was able to stagger to his
Like,
garage, open it up, and yeah, right.
I mean, even before he got to the garage, like before he got to the
100%.
door,
He
you
had to
know?
break into his like back window to choke out JB, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
You'd think after like the glass shattered, he'd be on his way around the back, like
I don't know.
put like
Yeah.
it would be like a double chokehold. Like
Yeah.
he's choking one guy,
He
and
was
the other's
taking a
choking-
phone call and just like didn't.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so he then does some sleuthing and determines that the blind man must be in the garage. So he opens it up, brandishing his sideways gun, and is poking around.
So you know he
looking
means
for
business.
The old man, and he follows a trail of blood. I believe he sees.
He sees like a tarp in the back of like his
Yeah.
truck, and he's like,
Steps on
"Oh,
some
he's
super
gotta
glue.
be. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah."
Mhm.
He's
So
like, he's
he-
gotta be in there.
It's like the classic like kid pretending to be in bed, puts like the
Yeah,
soccer ball
exactly.
in like the pillow under a blanket.
Yeah.
It's like that, but with
Right.
like the
And this
back
guy,
of the truck.
this ex Marine, totally falls for it.
Oh, he
Oh,
does.
yeah.
He does notice the Navy SEAL or like the
Yeah.
or was that
Not yet.
That might have been
not
JB
yet.
later.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
we will.
But anyway, yeah. So then he pulls up the thing and sees that he's not there. But then he was behind him. Ah! And so then he then
Always have two
incapacitates
tarps.
him and I don't think we see what happens
That's
to
all
him
we
just
see.
now.
He
we
just
don't.
snatches him from behind.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, that
And-
guy's fucking done for because we've seen this blind old man go crazy.
And then
on
do
some
we
people.
maybe was there something? Did they like fire his gun, or was there like a scream, and then that alerted the rest of the crew?
I think he might have fired his gun.
I don't know. At some point, the remaining
Yeah.
people then decide to go check the garage.
No, the JB just does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
JB goes and because
Because I think
Drake,
they're brothers.
Duke
They are.
Duke is
Yeah.
downstairs trying to like figure out how to get this girl out of the box.
Yeah. So Duke then he noticed that there's ventilation at the top, and so Duke. I think the girl also passed out.
Yeah.
For some reason,
Yeah.
oh, I guess from the
From the-
blood loss. I don't know. She passed out.
Concussion or something. Yeah, she
Yeah,
was.
concussion.
She's just fatigued from the tumble down the stairs.
Yeah,
and the hard
the-
body check.
yeah, she's understandably pretty tired.
Yeah.
And so she passes out, and then she wakes up to being like in a couple inches of water.
Yeah, water's
and
pouring in.
She sees that there is a hose that is pouring water in
Like
through the
clipped to
ventilation
the top
hole.
of it. Yeah.
And then Duke's like, "Oh, you better come out, little girl, or you're gonna drown."
Right.
Yeah.
So
Which
that's that.
she, at any point, I feel could have just pushed the hose out.
Well, it was
Like-
clamped to the top, and he was still watching. So, like, she could try to do
Yeah,
that. Just
but
any,
like at
yeah.
any other point, like
Yeah.
Yeah. At least he tried to delay it a little bit. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree.
missed
Anyway,
that
though.
part in Survivor
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
So I think that's when JB then goes to check on Jared, is Justin Bieber-esque guy's name.
Okay.
okay.
Jared.
And we go in there and they see the tube of super glue
Yeah.
on the ground. And
It's
then
completely empty.
they see Jared lying on the ground.
He's like
and-
crawling out.
Yeah, and they have super glue covering their mouth and their nose.
Yeah, so
like,
they've plugged up all their air passages with the super glue.
Yeah.
Which pretty badass. Like that was something else.
100%.
And then I don't understand why this was his first reaction
Neither do
to
I.
do it.
Yeah.
Neither do I.
But the
Because immediately after, Jared then thinks of the better option.
Yeah,
but I'll let you
right.
continue.
yeah, so JB grabs a fucking screwdriver or some shit and is like, "Oh shit, what do I do? What do I do?" Stabs him in the fucking cheek. He tells him to like open his jaw and he just stabs it right in there. Stabs his cheek, makes a hole. At first I was like, "Well, what the fuck is this gonna do?" And then he starts like breathing out of this side of his face, and I'm like, I guess that was one thing you could have done with
it's a
it. Like,
tracheotomy without the trachea.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
And then Jared proceeds to break a glass bottle.
He stabs him in the cheek with his screwdriver and is like, "There you go, you're breathing now." And then looks up and sees the Navy SEAL pin and is like, "He's a Navy SEAL." And this is when Jared is like, "I have a line I must deliver right now pertaining to this Navy SEAL thing. This makes me want to speak. I need to speak my truth." So he shatters some glass and slits open his own lips like one might do if like their lips were
this
stitched
was
or something
bad.
with that. So he cuts into the super glue with the glass very hastily. Honestly,
Blood just like
I still don't believe
But
they
I
couldn't
think
have
that
just
was
done
from
this
the-
carefully and like not had him like rip his but maybe he just
And
don't give
also,
a fuck.
honestly, if he was stabbed in the cheek, the blood would just start to pool up. You know, that shit's not going away.
Yeah,
so like, it's still
well,
going to be in there. Guy did not like
Yeah.
that. Was not the best option for him.
They should have just cut the
Look,
glue
dude,
in the
he had a
first place.
flathead
But
screwdriver. He could have just started poking holes in with the
That was
lip
my
But I
holders.
do like it because it's like quick thinking, and he didn't do the right thing
and it was
the first
gory
time.
and fun.
Yeah, so I
But
was
still.
like, all right.
It was great, but certainly not the first response or thing I would have attempted. Like maybe if he tried to poke at like the mouth glue and was like, "I can't do it," it's you know, or like maybe if he tried doing it and then like Jared took the screwdriver himself and like pierced his own cheek. And
Yeah,
then was like,
the
you know, like, I
desperation.
was running out of air, man. Like we didn't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
time. That would have been sensible. But yeah, anyway, so. He's like, he's a Navy SEAL, man. And then Jared is like, I need to slit open my own mouth to deliver the line I'm thinking in my head. And he cuts open his own mouth and can finally breathe and speak and goes, "A dead Navy SEAL, bro."
Yeah. God.
He said bro. Like,
did.
it would have been much easier.
He said
to take
bro like at
seriously.
the end of like everything.
He ends his
it made it
sentences with bro and yo. Like, that's the way he speaks. And it would have been much easier if he just said like a dead Navy SEAL. I still would have like rolled my eyes, but he goes, a dead Navy SEAL, bro.
You know,
And it's
I
just
think
like,
he might have
okay.
even like not said Navy. He might have just said SEAL, which I think is a dead SEAL, bro.
Which brings me back to the main point. Just picture the old man as a seal.
Doing SEAL chops.
I'll get some CGI work in there. I'll make a hypercut.
So then the blind guy has made his way into the basement. Or no, I think he makes his way into the but yeah, you go on.
Well, because JB is someone else's show. I don't know if this is when
I think it's when
Bathroom Fella shows up.
I think so.
Because Bathroom Fella shows up at this point.
Bathroom fella? Oh, no. Because, and this is another thing. JB was like, call the bathroom fella. And I'm like, this dude just got his fucking nose and mouth super glued. And you're like, call this dude. Use your mouth and your words and talk to this dude. I'm like, you have a functioning mouth. This guy's is a little bit
because in this time
rough.
frame, the blind man has gone to the basement door that the girl was trying to like lock it. Yeah, and they see him go in and he locks the door. So they're just like, oh, like Duke, like the blind guy's down there with you. Like he's down there with you. Be warned, we can't get to you. Like he's down there. So, just know he's coming for you, brother. And then they're like, call the backup. And the backup is the two other fellas and the counter dog.
But I think, if I remember correctly, the blind guy like goes in through the house. And I think maybe like at this moment, bathroom guy is like coming in. It's like, oh, shit. But he manages to go into the basement like in time and locks the door. And they're like, shit, he's down there. Right. Duke's still down there.
Right.
And so then the child safety box is nearly full with water, and
she starts trying to open the
starts wake not yet.
No,
not yet. She's woken up now, and it's like uh-oh.
This is a hard time.
And so then blind guy is in the basement, and Duke knows this.
Yes.
And is like, come on out, man.
Right.
And then he grabs a electrical wire that was on like a lamp or
construction
something.
light, like one of those hanging things.
And so he like cuts it so that the wires are exposed and like does a few like sparks to indicate that this is a live wire. And then he puts it into the box just above where the water line is. And he says, all right, man, I got this live wire that's about to go into the water, so don't try anything funny.
He's like, we'd rather have her alive, but we will kill her. So, like, you come out now and don't play, like, your Batman dark tricks. And, like, I'll kill you and we'll take this girl. So, there you go. So, in response, Captain Blindman decides he's going to, like, stab a gas canister that's down there and roll it out. And then Duke is like, okay, I see. If I shoot my gun now, I'll blow up all this gas and we'll both fry. And, and then the girl will die and it'll all be for nothing. So
he's like, no guns, okay.
Yeah, so he's like, all right, I'll retire my gun, and grabs his knife. And then the blind man has at some point made like a rebar concrete hammer war club thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was shown.
I think it was
made.
just there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they decided to engage in some combat.
And yeah, it was well choreographed.
Yeah,
it
good
was
stuff.
Yeah,
the old dude is just getting his shit kicked in.
Yeah, that's what I liked though. It was like it didn't have like him being like he wasn't Daredevil, you know?
Yeah.
Like he was a blind guy who clearly was like well attuned with his senses. Well, I mean, later in the movie, he seemed a little bit more like Daredevil.
Yeah,
but in this specific choreography scene, I felt it was like good because it was like, it's stuff that made like somewhat reasonable sense, but also had him as like a human being instead of a superhuman.
Right.
But yeah.
So yeah, Duke's wins the battle. And essentially the blind man is like fucking eating it. And at this point, bathroom guy, counter dog, and driver of counter dog all show up. I forget the names of these fellas. I want to say like Raul is the fifth guy. Bathroom guy has a name I forget, and counter dog all arrive. What's the name of the dude?
Which one is that?
The fifth guy with the But what do you call it? What do you call it? What do you
Like
call
a goatee or like the
Well, the
beard?
thing you use to break down doors.
Oh, like the battering
Was it
ram.
Raul,
Battering ram.
the Spanish guy?
Is that his name?
That is the Spanish guy's name.
Yeah.
That is the guy's name.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
I didn't know if that was the same guy.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
it
know.
was. The bald
a guy comes,
Yeah.
probably the Spanish guy named Raul,
Yeah.
and
He has a
tries
battering
to
ram.
batter the door down.
Yep. So that's happening while Duke and the blind man are fighting downstairs.
Mm-hmm. And so then the blind man is like on the floor. He's been kicked around a good bit, and Duke's like, "Time for me to finish the job."
Yep.
And so then the blind man takes cover behind this table.
Well, first he
Yanks the live wire.
I'm pretty
out of
sure
the
he
box.
yanks the live
While
wire.
he's crawling around, he grabs the wire and yanks it out of the box. And throughout this entire fight, Phoenix has been trying to get the box open, but just has not been able to. And it's the water, despite the live wire not being a problem anymore, the
drowning
water
is a
is
problem
still a threat.
Yeah.
And so then the man hides behind this table that has been overturned throughout the fight. And then I think it's made
he
of metal.
overturns it right before he does the thing.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
flips
been
it.
overturned, and he's like
I see what you're
cowering
saying.
behind it.
Yeah.
And then he takes the live wire and strikes it against the other side of the table, and it sparks, and that spark ignites the gas that has been filling the room. And then Duke is engulfed in this explosion.
blows him way
And
back.
everybody else upstairs hears the explosion. It's like, what the hell was
What
that?
the fuck, yeah.
And I guess they're still trying to break down the door.
Yeah, Duke is down. They're all still trying to battering ram the door down. The remaining four being Jared,
The rest of them.
JB, bathroom guy whose name I don't know,
And Raul.
Yeah. What is
and
bathroom guy's name?
I don't know. I know we can call him later, but let's wait for the reveal.
Okay.
And so then so they're still trying to break down the door, and then the blind guy is trying to save the girl who is, I think, now passed out again from almost drowning.
Right.
And then he pulls the box out to some degree, and then like pushes it on its side, which that's gotta be fucking heavy.
Yeah,
like
that
is
like the metal plus the
like
water.
a shipping container, and water is not like weightless.
No.
Yeah, that I think might have been a little. Yeah.
He manages to tip it over somehow.
Yeah, he does it.
God bless him.
So he does it and gets her out, and then oh no, don't die. Oh, I'm not dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Resuscitates her without the need for mouth to mouth.
Thank God. And then he is like, "Come with me," and then they go
down this
through
like
this
back hallway.
Yeah. And then we
They-
have the door get busted.
Yeah.
down.
It's another being pursued.
Oh, also, as they were running, as they're getting out of there, like the pans to Duke, and you just see Duke's eyes follow them, and then a tear streamed down his,
I did
his
notice
face,
that.
and I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah, right.
all right." That was a nice little touch. I like
did
that.
notice that. Yeah,
Hot
that was
damn.
something. And yeah, so then the rest of the team makes it down into the basement, and they're searching for them. And then JB notices like this hatch, I guess, that is still closed, and so they conclude they're still down here. But then almost immediately after that, bathroom dude then notices like a hallway and is like, So then they go to the end of this hallway. They see there's a ladder leading up, and there is like a hatch that leads into this like greenhouse area. And then the rest of the team follows suit, I guess. And then they're hiding in this greenhouse, trying to stay away from the intruders. And this is the point where
you're right.
bathroom
How-
guy says his piece. If you want to,
How many? Well,
forth.
how many people? How many intruders does it take to find two people in a small greenhouse?
and one who is blind.
They're in the hiding plants.
Yeah.
That's not on them, all right? You know, the hiding plants are hard to see people in.
To be
Yeah.
fair, there were a lot of plants, but
There's like Assassin's Creed where you can like crouch.
Yeah.
and, like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so basically, bathroom guy's like, little girl, I don't know who you think this guy is, but I can tell you who he's not. And that's, because he's just like, he's not a great person. And, you wouldn't want him looking after you. You wouldn't want to be around him if you knew who he was and his true story.
Yeah, so then he's like, do I have to tell her, or are you going to tell her? And then he's like, and then he attacks.
Like he flips out, too.
Yeah, he goes right for
he's
the
like,
dude.
you won't reveal my secrets.
But then JB, our boy Jim Bob, is ready to protect Bathroom Man, and he takes out the blind guy pretty easily.
Yep.
And then he's on the ground, and he's knocked out, like incapacitated to some degree.
He's like, I'm gonna shoot him now, and then like Phoenix is like, no.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like shoves it and is like, Father.
Yeah, and so then he's like, it's okay, little girl, and then she pretty quickly is like, all right, like, I guess, like,
cool.
yeah. And so then he.
What's your story, stranger?
Yeah, pretty much. And then the Bathroom Man is like, you don't recognize me? She's like, and then he's like, maybe if I do this, and then he pulls off his hat, and you see a very similar, like, silver streak in his hair as she has. And then we learn
that proves it.
that he is.
You don't need a birth certificate. You just need a spot of gray hair.
The test results have come back, and they show
that Bathroom Man is the real father.
You are the father.
And so Bathroom Man then lets Phoenix know that he is her real father, and that the blind man is not.
Yes.
And I was under the assumption that the mother had died, but clearly that was wrong.
Well, that's what he like mentioned more or less. He didn't say it explicitly, but like.
Well, he was saying. I think the old man was saying it just because that's easy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Then you don't have to.
Oh yeah, because I mean, he more or less recaps the story. It's like there's a terrible fire. I was framed for it. I went to jail. Now I'm out of jail, and I'm here to take you back, my daughter.
Yeah.
You've been abducted from me.
And then she's like clearly trying to process all this, and she's like, and then new Papa is like, kill this man.
Well, new Papa's like, this man took you from us, and like, I just want to have you back. But he took you from us, and now I have to kill him. I'm sure you understand. And then like stands up, and then JB's like, all right, I'm gonna kill him. But then new Papa's like, whoa.
Not in front of my daughter. Take it outside.
We have manners and sensibilities here. I mean, we broke into this dude's house, did some pretty crazy, brutal stuff. But like, how could you even imagine that I would want you to shoot this man in front of my daughter?
Like as they're picking him up, he like backward headbutts, and then like
JB.
breaks out of one of the windows of the greenhouse. They go after him.
So anyway, they started blasting. Yeah. Like seriously, they just start unloading into like the black nether. Like it's just like, what the fuck is this?
And then they leave the super glue guy to watch.
They
like,
chase after him.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna go pursue him. Super glue fella, you take my daughter back to the truck.
So he has her like a vice grip, and then she sees
there's a pitchfork that we had a nice establishing shot for, and she takes it and she drives it right into his foot. And
this guy's been having the worst.
Yeah, he really has had. He's been getting the short end of the stick. He's gotten like by the end of this night, he has like 7 new holes in his body.
Yeah. Slipped on some race cars.
Yeah.
So hit in the head with a brick.
Yeah.
He gets impaled in the foot and reacts pretty chill to that.
Yeah, he
honestly.
finds his zen.
He's like,
Really
but anyway, all the same, he lets her go, and then he pulls the pitchfork out of his foot, and then is like, all right, I don't care whose daughter you are, I'm gonna teach you some manners. And then he grabs like a little what is it? Like the little 3-pronged thing? Oh, he does slap her when she's...
And then the blind man
picks up the till.
You're right.
I think it is.
Blind man takes the thing, whether he took it from him or off of the shelf, and then puts it right in the guy's neck.
And then drags him to the ground.
Yeah, so then he's on the ground, choking on his own blood, presumably. And then blind man...
Or the till sticking out of his neck, one or the other.
Right. Yeah, and blind man decides to finish the job, and he takes a shovel and bashes the guy's head in.
Starts skull caving,
And then
Phoenix is like, no,
and
please.
he continues to do it.
No, don't do this.
And then she like screams,
really
and then they're all like, oh shit.
So then blind man takes Phoenix, and they go back into the basement through the the cellar doors that led down to the ladder. And then the rest of the team comes in to see that Jared, super glue fella, has been killed. And JB takes this
down.
particularly hard. We later find out that it was his brother, but all the same, he's like, oh, man. And so then he notices that they had to have gone through the cellar doors.
Yes.
And so he's like, come on, man, let's go. And then new Papa is like, no, they want us to do that. We're done with these games. And then so we have Blind Man and Phoenix have made it back into the house, and they're going to...
They're all the way
the
upstairs.
attic.
Yeah, they're going to the attic, yes.
Basement didn't work. Let's try the attic.
Yeah, we're running out of floors here.
Yeah. That's where our mounted machine gun is.
And so then new Papa takes, I guess it was the coat of the blind man.
Yeah.
And lets his dog, who has been in the back of the truck,
The counter
give it a good
pupper.
old sniff.
Yeah.
And then he sicks the pup on him.
Yep.
And then Phoenix is like, I don't know if I can trust you. Are you my real dad? You're not my real dad. And then the dog comes barreling up the steps, and he's just like, go.
Yeah, he's like, Father or no, you need to get out of here.
Yeah, and she's like, all right, and runs into her room, locks the door as he's trying to make his way up into the attic with
Yeah,
the
and
dog chasing
the dog
him.
starts following him. So Phoenix makes it out of her window and starts like ledge shimmying, and makes it down the drain pipe and starts to go into the woods with her like survival pack. And it's like, well, guess I'm hoofing it on my own from here, and then immediately gets grabbed by Raul.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, you're not hoofing it. You're coming with us. So Raul grabs her. And
I was a big fan of the whole dog scene because the dude was just not trying to hurt this dog, and I was like, well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, it really shows he's a really good guy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think I would have been able to handle that.
I mean,
like,
he's done,
Yeah, again, it's like all
he's done
the
whole
stuff that's
spectrum
implied
of
that
human
that
horrors.
happens. They really try to skirt around him killing dogs,
Yeah.
or just dogs being killed in this film.
Yeah, because, I don't know, animals are pure. Humans kill my daughter.
Human bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's doing his best to avoid this dog attacking him.
Yep.
And has a moment where he considers shooting it, but
Yeah.
doesn't, and then ends up doing some smart little tactics and ends up like trapping it with behind like this bed frame thing.
Yeah.
And then he starts to make his way out, or attempts to.
and then it cuts to new Papa and folk, and he's like, all right, time for this, and he brings out the little his
Molotov
little lunch
cocktails
sack
and stuff.
but it's not full of lunch, it's full of Molotov cocktails. And he's like, all right,
of
time
lunch.
to start tossing, and then
Yeah.
Raul's like, but your dog though. He's like,
No, the dog's
the
dead.
dog. You're like, what do you mean? Did you see what happened to the other guys? The dog's
Yeah.
fucking
He's like,
dead.
the dog's dead. And Raul's like, you don't know that the dog's dead. And he's like, do you want to go check to find the body? And he's like, no, I don't.
Fair point.
And he's like,
All
okay.
right, flick.
So let's get burning this house down. So they start throwing the Molotovs in every which
And
way.
That house starts getting burned
Yeah,
down.
sufficient fire being started.
And then the dude, he's like about to go, and then he hears the dog whimpering, and he's like, no, I'm going back for the dog. And he lets the dog go, and the dog runs out, and he's like, fuck, now I gotta get out. But
Yeah.
like he can't see, and like the fire, you can't you can feel the fire, but like honestly,
And the
that'd probably
remaining
be
4 have officially
hard.
driven away with Phoenix at this point.
Yeah, so then I think he jumps out a window.
Yeah.
Yep.
And lands on top of the greenhouse.
Yep.
And is like hearing the glass crack. And is like,
Because the whole greenhouse is on fire at this point, and
Yeah.
he's just like above the fire.
And then the glass cracks. He falls through. Then immediately falls out of a window, out of the
Yep.
greenhouse, and
Yep.
then I guess passes out. And cut to Phoenix in her new home.
Yeah.
Which is a really weird space. I don't know what it was.
It looked like an abandoned hotel or something.
I thought it said
Like
like a
apartment
train
complex.
station.
Yeah, it looked like there was a train station sign. I don't know what the fuck that's all about.
I
Yeah,
missed that.
because it was definitely like she was asleep and there were like 2 bar areas.
Yeah.
And I was like, where the hell are
Yeah,
they?
exactly.
And what are you doing?
Yeah, so she wakes up and we see new Papa, and he's like, "Hey, sleepyhead." And
Yeah.
yeah, so he's just like, You're my daughter.
Come on, come sit with me.
I love you.
Let's talk.
Your
Let's talk this
name
through.
is Tara, not Phoenix. That's a dumb name. You're Tara.
Yeah, right.
And she asks him a bunch of questions of like, what's my mom's name? When was I born? Other stuff. And he answers them.
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And then she sees the door open, and he's like, and he notices that, and he's like, "You could leave. You're not in prison anymore. You can go. I don't care. Fucking leave." She was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, go for it."
Totally.
And then
She's like, "Okay."
And then she's like, you know what? I think I'll stay. And he's like, I had to kill that guy, right? I'm not even sorry about it. That guy fucking sucked.
No, I don't.
And she's like, I'm gonna go, actually.
Right.
So then he's like, all right, fine. There's the door. And so then she starts walking out, and we see the rest of the crew, in addition to a few people we hadn't seen before.
Yeah,
and we
like
see
three
somebody that we
somebody,
have seen before.
I wonder who. Maybe of the medical background.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The
so,
weatherman.
Yeah, it was the dude that the news was about earlier, the organ harvester.
Yeah, that guy was there.
So then she starts making her way towards the door. She's like literally got her hand on the door, about to like walk out.
Right.
And then we hear like a motorized wheelchair, like, and then we hear very like,
Sweet Christ.
like. Just the typical trope of like a nursery rhyme being sung in like a creepy, like weak voice.
Yeah.
But it was the same song that the Phoenix Tara child was singing.
And she notices this and stops. And she turns around and sees a shadowy figure in a wheelchair in the shadows.
Honestly, this scene took way too long.
They lingered on that song.
And like
for a
she
hot
was
minute.
singing, and like for her to like get out of the shadow, I was like, just come on. We all know who this is, and honestly, you holding what she looks like from us isn't like you're not doing anything here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
big
I thought they were gonna
reveal.
break out into song or something.
yeah. So then we
got
see
a hunch
new
this
Papa
is
and
love.
new Mama hanging out, and then
Right.
just like staring
Just
at
chilling.
her.
American Gothic
Yeah.
style.
And then she decides to stay with her new parents.
Yeah.
And then I think it cuts back to Old Man, or does it show
Yeah,
them?
yeah. Because
Okay.
then the dog comes back, and he's like, "Go home."
And the dog's like, "No, man, we're cool now.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, I don't
You're
know.
my bud."
But you seem hurt. Are you cool? I mean, you helped me. Are you cool? And he's like,
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm going to walk down the road now. He finds Hernandez's body.
Yeah, he finds the car. He hears like the wind chime that was like the bells on like
But it
her
was so
keys.
far
No,
away.
that's stupid. I refuse
Yeah.
to believe that's real.
Yeah.
So far away.
Anyway,
Yeah.
he stumbles upon Hernandez's car, and there are like these little bells on her keychain.
Yeah.
So he
in a van that is
Yeah.
closed with no windows open.
Yep.
So he discovers her body and is like, "No, Hernandez."
Yeah.
That was no Hernandez. And then he salvages the bells from her keys, as well as like a machete and some other stuff
Right.
from the van. And then he's
I thought it
ready
was
to-
canned food at first that he was throwing in a sack.
He's just like, "Oh man, I gotta go, but I'm so hungry."
Right.
I thought he was just going to be beating people with cans in his
He
fists.
definitely whacked that one guy with
did,
the can.
yeah.
Did beat him with some sweet peas.
Yeah. But yeah, so then he gets the brilliant idea to put some to put like the leash around the dog.
Yep.
And it's like, "Go home."
Puts a bell in the collar, puts 2 bells in his pocket.
Yeah. And so then he has the dog lead him to the dog's home.
Yeah.
And so then I believe we have Tara, formerly known as Phoenix,
Yep.
with new Mama and new Papa, and they're all talking and stuff. And then new Mama is
The
like,
bombshell.
yeah, I pretty quickly, just drops the bombshell of like, "Oh yeah, we used to cook meth in our basement,
Yep.
and that's what the fire was caused by."
Well, they were like, we used to cook in a kitchen in our basement for a living.
yeah, for our business.
Business, business.
But anyway, they cooked meth.
Yeah.
That's what caused the fire.
Yeah.
The chemicals from the fire did severe damage to new Mama, and she is dying.
Her insides are rotten, baby.
Yeah. And so then
I don't think a new heart's gonna be what you like.
Yeah, so then they're like, well, Mama needs a new heart, baby, but it has to be a special heart that matches from, I don't know, a direct relative.
Yeah, right.
And then
They asked, they're like, "Will you do this for me?" And then like she had some juice, and then it like pans to the bottom of the juice, and there's just like some floaty bits at the bottom.
So they drug
I'm
her.
feeling
It's like
drugged.
yeah.
And she passes out.
Yep.
And
So Mama's like, I want a child's heart.
Which I don't even know if that would like.
No, look, we
I
don't have to
really
worry
don't
about
think
it.
that's how that
have to worry
works.
about it.
But I like I said, I am no scientist. I'm no doctor.
Yeah.
I do not know anatomy enough to know if that would work or
We'll
not.
assume that Phoenix is post-pubescent and all the heart has done all the growing it needs to.
Yeah. And
Highly doubt that.
Love
but
it.
so then Phoenix Terra wakes up on a medical bed, and she is restrained, and she sees next to her is Mama in her bed. And then we see organ harvester Dr. Man, who then drops the bombshell of like, well, we can't kill her and then take the heart because we don't have the proper
Because
equipment
new Papa's
to
like,
keep
why
it.
is this girl still alive? And then
Yeah,
I'm just
pretty
like,
candidly is like, why is
You haven't
she not
killed her
dead?
yet?
Yeah, and
You
the
haven't killed my
doctor's
daughter
like,
yet?
She needs to be alive. I can't. The heart won't last. We have to cut it out while she's still breathing, so we have time to put it into new Mama. And then new Mama and Pa are like, oh, okay,
Yeah, works for me.
right on.
You're the doctor.
So then doctor is like, all right, well, no time like the present.
Yeah.
And
And new Mama's like, oh, and by the way, thank you.
Yeah.
And then we
Asshole.
see JB and Raul sitting on the couch just outside of the makeshift operating room.
Right.
And Raul's like, it's not right, man. That's a kid. And
Right.
he's like, don't you get it, dude? If we don't get this lady to be alive and well, then we lost our cook.
Yeah.
We got no cook. We got no meth. We got no meth. We got no business. We got no business. We got no us. Comprende?
Yeah, right.
And he's like, all right, dude.
Yeah, but still, it doesn't make it right.
Yeah, it doesn't make it okay what's happening here. It's like you don't seem to understand. There was 8, now 7 of us, and only one of us knows how to make the meth we sell for a living.
Yeah, I know. That was one thing I thought the whole
Well,
time.
6.
I was like, yeah, it seems like they might want to, give up the trade secret a
Yeah, it
little
seems
bit.
strange to me. She's like rotting away. Like Papa isn't like.
You know what? For the business, I'll learn.
Yeah, like you should probably teach me how we do this whole.
I'll
making
be
meth
damned if
I
I
think
learn a
that-
damn thing. That's why I joined this business.
I think that the thing that would be much easier is for us to get a child heart from our
Yeah,
estranged
yeah.
daughter
Right,
rather
right,
than
right.
you teach me
Right.
this task.
Who's she being watched over by? Oh, you know that dude who killed all those people in the news? Him.
Yeah, exactly.
That should be easy.
So then Dr.
I mean,
Man...
like, what, you have notes and stuff for me? I don't want to read. Let's just go. Let's go take her.
So then Dr. Man starts his tool and is about to cut into Terra, and then
Which once again, like movie magic at its finest. Like just the bare nick of time,
Yeah.
and like how did he shut it off? Like, I mean,
yeah, it
This
was
dude has
very-
Batman calling cards though, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I do. Like
he
that.
he told the dog, he was like,
"Go out." It's like you know who's coming for you.
Yeah, so then lights go out, and then JB's like, fine, I'll go turn the lights on. He grabs a flashlight and a gun
Yeah.
and starts heading down to the basement.
They're just like, "Oh, the lights just went out," and they're like, "Well, there's no obvious explanation for this, so somebody just go." I guess
Check
the
it out.
circuit blew.
Yeah.
You know these damn transistor. I don't know what the fuck runs electricity. I
These
don't know.
damn capacitor.
Yeah, maybe.
I couldn't meth. I'm not an electrician.
Yeah, right.
Light
Maybe
switches?
capacitor. It seems right. Yeah,
yeah.
they're like, yeah,
That
blue.
darn ground wire.
Yeah. It's like go restart the fuse box or some shit.
Yeah, so then
JB's like, I
Jim
gotcha.
Bob goes down and flips the switch on, and then we see out of the shadows. What's his name? Oh, we just calling it the blind guy. What's his name?
The blind
Norman.
And then out of the shadows, the blind man, and he overtakes Jim Bob, and they have a struggle, and yeah.
Yep. And Jim Bob's like, you killed my brother.
And he's like, I don't care enough to say anything to you.
Now eat this bell.
Yeah, so he shoves a bell down his throat.
Well, also it's worth mentioning that during their scuffle, a pipe that has water in it busts, and so then the water is then
filling the room.
Yeah, just there's a couple inches of water on the floor.
Yeah,
and so then during their fight, Blind Man takes one of the bells and shoves it down Jim Bob's throat, and
he's choking, and every time he moves, it jingles.
Exactly. So then Jim Bob has dropped his patented hammer.
Yeah.
And he notices there's a gun, so then he tries to hastily go to get the gun, but he's got that dang bell.
Yeah, he's chingling the whole time.
And Blind Man is able to use this to echolocate him and throws the hammer and paralyzes him instantly.
He just goes to town.
Just nails him right in the head.
And he's not dead, but he is certainly paralyzed.
Yeah.
And then Blind Man comes up to him and takes the hammer and is kind of measuring his shot.
Yeah. And then says,
"This is for Shadow,"
which confirms,
right?
Oh yeah, it confirms that Jim Bob killed the dog. Even though, as I mentioned to Mike, I don't think Jim Bob knows the dog by name. So I just picture him being like, "Yeah, who?" right before getting his skull caved in. So he does that, and then
the dude let out a blood-curdling scream right before he was
his
just
skull caved in with his own hammer. Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, it's him. Go." He's like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, he says to Raoul, he's like,
Well, he
Go.
goes, how in God's name did he survive and find us? And then his dog comes back in the room, and he's
with
just
the bell around its neck.
and he's just like, motherfucker. So he shoots a bullet at his own dog.
Because the dog starts slinging, and he's like,
don't you worry.
Loyalty or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, this loyal animal.
Yeah, and so then he yells to Raoul, like, go take the men and take care of him. And he's like, how many men should I take? And he's like, all of them.
But before we get into this real quick, before the scene where the blind man shoves the bell down JB's throat, would you mind telling us how you thought that scene was going to go down?
Yes, absolutely. I am so bummed out. It was not how I thought. So when I went and saw Suicide Squad the other night.
You went and saw Suicide Squad the other night?
I did.
That's
Did
weird.
you go and see Suicide Squad the other night?
That's weird. Wait. No. Because I don't remember. Because I didn't see. So that's strange.
Listener,
you went to the movies?
You are listening in real time as Mike gaslights me
I don't
because I
because you didn't see Suicide
damn
Squad.
well clear
especially not
to
without
tell
me.
Mike
Especially
that I
not
was
without
seeing Suicide
me.
Squad.
You're a good friend,
as well as
and also movie partner.
We discussed
Seems like
that
we
we
go
were
to
not
movies.
going to talk about it
Seems
for
like-
the podcast. So
seems-
that is
seems
why I
like
felt
we go to
comfortable
movies
seeing
together.
it by myself.
And you know it's really incredible.
Is this how all of these go?
You know it's really
Yes.
incredible. There's another movie that you had mentioned seeing recently. When we were on our way into the movie theater, you said it was a movie you had watched, and I'm trying to remember it, and I hope you remember it. God, what was it? You saw it with
The
Katie.
Rock's new
evidently.
boat movie?
No, not The Rock's new boat movie. We already established that we saw it together for the first time.
Spiral?
Together. What?
Spiral?
No. Spiral. Yes. Spiral. Yes.
You mean the movie that
Yes.
came out months before we started this podcast?
Yes, I don't know when it came out. I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. I retract my statement. I thought it came out recently. That's on me. I just remember I saw DVDs for it on sale, so it's probably been out for a while.
Yeah, a minute.
But even still, you should have known.
You should have known we were going to start this.
I'm here to remind you of the mess you made when you walked away. It's not
Anyway,
fair.
I went and saw Suicide Squad
You
by
went and saw
myself.
Suicide Squad by
without
yourself?
Mike.
That's weird.
And when I was seeing said film, I saw a trailer for Don't Breathe. And
Two.
Don't Breathe 2, excuse me. And I
Also.
believe this was a new cut of the trailer that I had not seen prior, or at least I had not paid attention enough the first time.
Fair.
And it showed this scene where JB has a bell put into his mouth/throat, and then is choking, and then is going for an object, presumably a gun, and then the blind man throws a hammer at him, hitting him. And in the trailer, there is not context given that it is a bell. You just see that there is an object that goes into his mouth/throat.
Yep.
And in the brief moments that I saw the metallic object in his hand, thought that they were bullets.
Yeah.
And so I thought he put bullets into this guy's throat. And then we see the guy stumble, and then it is established that there's water. So I figured with his daredevil powers, he heard the man try running through the water and knew exactly where to throw the hammer and hit him, which we see in the trailer. But what I expected is that what the trailer did not show was that he actually hit him in the throat where this bullet was, and it would explode, because I just expected that kind of over-the-top action and gore, and was very disappointed to find out that it was just a bell and a hammer.
Not only was it not a bullet, but it also didn't explode when he threw a hammer at it.
Boo.
Not an explosive bell. What's up with that?
Or an explosive hammer.
I'm adding this to my letter to Sam Raimi.
Yeah, get it in there. But yeah, so anyway, back to Gary Oldman requesting backup.
Yeah, so all the men, and so then he sends all the men down, meaning 4 men, and
Raul and 3 others.
Yeah, 3 other nameless men.
Wait, 4 others. And one of them's a girl, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 4 people get shot in the water, and then Raul remains.
The exact number is not important. So then all of these people then go down, and they see this room where JB had been killed, and they see that there is water on the floor, and they see the body of the blind man. He is just lying on the ground, presumed dead.
Speaking of Saw, it's pretty much exactly like Saw 1, where he's just laying in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that
that
pose that you see on Family Guy all the time when they fall.
Yeah.
But anyway,
all twisted.
Yeah. So he's given a convincing act that he is perhaps dead.
Yes.
And so then we see 3 or 4. I don't know. All but Raul.
I believe it's 4. Go in.
Everybody but Raul then starts walking towards him.
Guns.
And they're pointing the guns at him, and none of them decide to just bullets are not in short supply here. Let's just fire a couple into this guy.
Exceedingly dangerous. We really should make sure he's dead. And so we're going to walk up to his body instead of standing here and shooting him some more.
And so once more, he uses his daredevil-like powers and senses the vibrations in the water.
Yeah, he feels the amount of ripples coming towards him.
Walking towards him.
And from which direction or some shit?
I think it is 3. Anyway, I'm going 3 now.
So then he pulls out his gun that he had been hiding, and then pow, 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 3 times.
Yes.
And 3 bodies fall.
Perhaps an additional pow should there have been 4. 1 bullet per body.
Yeah. And so then he then gets up and is searching around with his blind eyes to see if there's anybody else in here. And then Raul speaks up. And
he clicks his gun
pulls
first,
the
and
hammer
he's like,
back.
"Oh, you want to do it? Are you sure you want to do it?" And then he's like, "Shit. All right. Well, they're escaping. I can't do this. They're escaping. They're taking the girl. They're gonna try to take her heart.
They're going to kill her.
There's a ladder behind you
that will conveniently take you right to
where they're going.
to where they're heading. So just take that and you'll be fine. Let me be cool. We're cool. And he's just like, all right.
Yeah, so then
heads up the ladder.
Goes on his way and heads up the ladder. And then we see new mama and new papa and Tara, who is now placed into the wheelchair with new mama, and she's handcuffed to her.
Yeah.
And the doctor is leading the way.
Mm-hmm. And new papa's got a gun and is telling the surgeon where to go. And then they reach a point where there's an exit visible.
Yeah.
And then new doctor decides, you know what? I am
because Tara goes, he's going to kill you all. And the doctor goes,
I think I'll take my chances with the door. Thank you very much.
Yeah, right. So he's like, I'm out, y'all.
Yeah, so he starts making his way out, and then it's a quite dark hallway.
Yeah.
And then we hear,
Yeah, and he immediately gets macheted.
Yeah.
something. And
Macheted.
then
We saw the blind man grab a machete before he came on up.
That's fair.
Yeah, but like it seemed like I don't know. He had like a hole in it. Like
I think he like slit his throat.
when he was found, it was just like pouring out of his neck. Like it looked like a hose.
Yeah.
Like,
Um,
did not like.
And
so-
New Papa's like, man, this guy always has advantages in the dark, so I'm going to shoot some of the boards on this boarded up window because the sun is rising, and we'll get some light in this area.
Oh yeah, and
it's
that's how he saw the doctor guy. Yeah,
and it's a big old pool area, funny enough, in this abandoned trace station, maybe hotel.
I don't.
and he says, "Good morning."
Motherfucker.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I couldn't remember if it was good fucking morning or
Yeah.
if it was that. If we're splitting hairs about these types of things.
Yeah.
Fucking good morning.
Fuck good.
Good morning, fucking.
Fucker.
God, I love this script.
Oh, sweet
Good morning,
Christ.
fucking.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then he's like, "Come on out. I can see you, but I can't because
Yeah, right.
I don't see you.
Right.
But I could hypothetically if
Yeah.
you were not hidden."
And then blind dude was like, "Fuck your light. Here's some what I thought was food canisters, but turned out to be
yeah, they were like fumigation.
yeah, bug
like,
bombs."
mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then it starts getting
Which
real.
I think they would have been coughing a lot more than they were because that shit.
Yeah, they were not
That's
supposed
like-
to breathe that stuff.
Yeah, and they were in it. Like there was like 4 of them going off, and this dude just was like, "No, this is fine. This is like a fog machine."
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And
what?
now
the-
we have a nice red fog filling the room. I really did like the lighting for this.
Yeah, that
Oh, it
was
was
red
pretty
good,
fog.
cool.
Like, I was like, fuck yeah.
Um,
Let's do it. This is the way you do a big climactic, violent, gore, murder, death end scene here.
mm-hmm.
All right, so,
So-
big fog, red fog filled pool area scenery.
And Blind Man is
Beautiful.
like popping up here and there, like
Yeah.
Doing some
and
s-
stabbing and
cuts him.
slashing.
Cuts him.
And Papa is trying to slash as well to no avail. Really,
And New Mama's like, I'm out of here. So she like turns her wheelchair around.
I don't even think. I think
No,
that's
no,
not
no.
quite what happens.
No,
'cause
she
she's-
stays there.
I think
she's just calling out.
But Tara, does like get off of her lap, but is still like
Oh, yeah,
chained
behind-
to her, and is like,
behind her.
I'm trying to get away, but I
Right.
can't. And
Because she's having
then-
a hard time with the fumigation smoke and her weak heart and lungs.
That's true.
Yeah.
But then New Papa is like, I'm sick and tired of this, and starts firing more or less blindly.
Yeah.
And I believe he happens to hit New Mama.
You
Yeah.
hear go like
And doesn't realize it at first. He just hears like grunting, and he's like, "I fucking got him." So he goes and follows like the source of like the pained breathing.
Yeah,
and
'cause
he's
it's
like,
the smoke.
"Oh, New Mama, no, I shot you."
New Papa and Blind Guy are stabbing
Keep
at each
going,
other.
yeah, keep
and
going,
now
yeah.
they're both getting some good hits into each other.
Yeah.
And so then New Mama, dead now, then like falls like over onto the controls
Yep,
of her
of her-
motorized
of her
wheelchair,
wheelchair, yeah.
and starts like heading towards the deep end of this empty pool.
Yeah, which
and
is
Tara
exceedingly deep.
is
It's
still
gotta be like a 16-foot drop. It's
yeah,
crazy how
something
deep
like
it is.
that. And Tara is still
12 foot,
like
maybe.
handcuffed to the dead body of
Yeah.
her mother. And so she's like,
She's like, I'm fucking
anybody,
dead.
uh,
If she plummets in here, I can't hold her up.
yeah. So then
Well-
she's like hanging on to like the ladder, and then like eventually manages to like get her like feet on it.
Yeah.
strong feet. Like
Yeah.
Must be feet worthy to be anchors, frankly. Because the wheelchair and New Mama do go over the edge.
And the wheelchair goes straight to the bottom and breaks into
Shatters,
several
just
pieces.
shatters, to really
And-
show how far the drop is.
And New Mama is like hanging on by what's her name's by Phoenix's handcuffs and
Yes.
wrist.
Yeah.
And to their credit, it did look like they showed like a bruise around like the wrist when she like was
Yeah, right,
moving
right.
to show that there's a lot of pressure. But anyway, so then while the two men are hacking at it,
Thank you for that.
they're manly men,
Uh-huh.
hand-to-hand combat.
Big meaty men bumping meat.
Pumping me. So then Tara notices the machete that is just barely out of reach, so she like rolls, I guess.
Yeah, she does like a
somehow.
roll. Yeah.
And then
but she's still holding on by her feet.
that's what I was just thinking because
No,
when
I
I was
think she
watching the
twists.
movie,
I
I
think
thought
she-
like, oh, this makes sense. But then when I'm
Right.
picturing this in my head, I'm like, how did that work?
How? Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, she is able to reach and grab this machete, and she's like, you know what? This dead body doesn't need this hand.
Yep.
And starts chapping away at
Hacking
it.
away at new mama.
Yeah.
But
And
to,
as she hacks at the arm is also letting go of her dream of having a family into life.
I think she might have let go of that a little bit before that.
No, it's now.
Maybe
She's
on the
finally moving
operating
on and
table,
letting go
or-
of new mama and
Yeah.
accepting her as the monster she is. It's like, I'm going to cut your
But
forearm
then it doesn't
off.
to no avail. It was a good idea, but she couldn't hold on.
Yeah, so she like cuts it almost all the way off, but then ends up falling all the same.
Yeah.
But thankfully, her dead mom's body cushions her fall.
Yay.
Yay.
Thanks, Mom, looking out.
She does come through as a protective mother.
I know you wanted to take my heart, but at least you stopped me from cushioning my fall.
Yeah.
And then Papa's dog ends up coming and is now on the side of the blind guy.
Yeah.
And so
Well.
he like attacks
Bites
the-
right into that arm.
Yeah, he bites right into Papa's arm, not before Papa got a good slash into the blind guy, into
Yeah.
like his gut. And so then while he is being dealt with by the dog and ends up like throwing the dog out of the window.
Yeah.
And the dog's okay. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Yeah.
And then
Covers up the window he just threw the dog through with like a big heavy shelf.
yeah.
And then the blind man appears right behind him as he's like moving that shelf and then like skull bashes the back of his head against that shelf, which dazes new Papa. And then
then-
blind man.
Does he say the thing here?
Yeah. And he goes, "Now you will see what I see."
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
gouges out the eyes of new Papa as
Which-
new Papa screams.
Now that we've said that, was that the only time he said it in the movie? I can't quite remember.
I
think
believe so.
Yeah.
From what I had gathered,
He
again-
wasn't going around like blinding everybody.
That's true. From what I had gathered from promotional material of this movie and
Right.
the prior, that is, like a thing that he like says at least twice throughout
Right.
both films. And I thought like when he turned off the light for like Phoenix when they were like going to bed, I
Right.
really wish that he was like, "Okay, good night. Now you'll
Hey,
see what I see."
Yeah.
But yeah, so he blinds Papa by gouging his eyeballs out, and
Yeah.
then Papa slouches onto the ground with his eyes out.
Did he like dig his thumbs into his brain? Who knows? Is new Papa dead or alive?
not
Who
I.
knows?
Yeah.
So then,
But he ain't moving. He's real slumped.
yeah. So then, Papa is, or not Papa. Then blind guy is sitting there, and he's been cut pretty deep. And Phoenix is like, "Oh, blind guy," and he's like, "No, don't come close."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "I'm a bad man. I'm a monster. You do not be around me."
Yep. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
Go
And then
away.
as he's like giving this this speech of repentance, I guess, then new blind guy.
Well,
AKA
because the
Papa.
blind man is, doing the one thing they bother to mention, his like list of bad stuff he's done, and just goes for the top two, where he's just like, "Yeah, I've murdered and also I've raped. You probably shouldn't be around me. You need to go away." And he's like, "I'm no father. I can't be a father figure. I'm a terrible man. I've done terrible things. My sins can never be forgiven. Leave."
Yeah, and then at
New
that
blind man.
moment, new blind man, formerly known as New Papa,
Yeah, blind Papa.
comes up and stabs
Love it when you call me blind pop.
old blind man right into the side, and then he's like, "Ah, my side!"
Yep.
And then he is about to then slit blind man's throat.
Uh-huh.
Old blind man, that is. New blind man is going to slit old blind man's throat.
Right.
And then you hear the sound of a blade cutting skin,
But you're focused on the neck. You don't see the.
but no blood. How curious.
Yep.
And then we see that Phoenix has snuck up behind and stabbed him through the chest.
Yeah.
And then he stumbles about and says, "Tara?" And then he falls into the pool beside his wife.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess at some point I should have mentioned that she, like, popped the hand off of her mom.
Oh, yeah, it was
And
like
it's
a- it was like-
a Lego piece, like
Yeah.
the Lego hand.
Yeah. So yeah, they're in the bottom of the pool, dead side by side, and then it pans up to Phoenix looking down at both of them, red smoke surrounding, blood on her face. and her baptism is complete.
And then
she does do like the end of movie thing where she's holding the old man.
Yeah, she goes to stop the bleeding, and he's like, "No, let me die."
Yeah, it's my time.
And
He's
so
like,
then
if you don't let me die here, they'll ask for a third one.
Please just kill me.
And so then old man dies.
And
and we're like, where will Phoenix go? And she's like, oh, I know a place.
Which I was really disappointed because I thought because what happened was she walked outside and it pans up and then the next shot is her the front of the orphanage thing with all the kids, and you hear her say oh, can I or is there. They see her come up and then it pans over to her, and I was really hoping she just came from this whole ordeal and was just I'm just gonna go because also I don't know where she would have gotten washed up.
Yeah, well,
I don't know.
She did evidently.
Yeah, but so.
No, it would have been way better if she was still full post murder, just went up and was just room for one more. But yeah, they're oh, totally, welcome home.
What's your name?
And
she took a minute and she was like, Phoenix. And then it just rips into...
Now it's metal credits time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we get the names presented with various scenery from the film.
Yeah.
And really, they did a good job with the scenery because they were going through the credits, and the credits go through a lot of the scenery places and the set, and I was like, dude, these really are kind of memorable places.
I also really liked
design.
Yeah, I also really liked the prosthetics that they did do, for the Duke, his whole face. I thought it looked really good, and I didn't think it was CGI at all.
Yeah,
and then
the
blind, blind Poppy,
Yeah.
That was pretty good looking too.
Yeah, all around.
Yeah, costumes and makeup really good. They really did good with this film.
Yeah, I think
acting was pretty good.
To be a broken record, if you take this film as a standalone movie, with all the little jabs we've done here and there, they're all pretty minor. It's a pretty fine movie. It just really gets really confusing and a little bit problematic when you kind of look at the two movies as a collective.
Right.
And I don't think I have a whole lot more to say about the film at large other than that. And I'm ready to get into reviews when you are.
Of little 8-year-old girl baptism through death and murder. She machetes the dude. It's fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for that type of shit. And they got the red smoke in the background and rip the guitar chord.
Yeah,
and shit.
No, again, I think that this is the type of thing.
Yeah.
I really wish that they either I didn't like the redemption arc. I really think they should have just kept him bad, but like he could be doing like good things, but like he did. I don't like.
I mean, I think the best thing I can say about the like problematic nature of it, and this is the best thing I can say, is that like maybe one could argue it to be some kind of thing of like. Just to say, like, of course, this is a very extreme example of this point, but there is no, like, life is gray area, you know? Like, there is no perfect people, and everybody has their, like, skeletons in the closet. And, of course, this is a very drastic example of that point. But, like, that's the best thing that I could say about the collective, is that maybe it is to say, like, yeah, look, you've seen this guy. He's done terrible things. But, look, he's not redeemed himself, but look, he's also done good things. He's done bad, he's done good, you know? Which, again, I don't think is a very, like... I think taking this example to say that is like, okay, no. Like, you could say that same thing with less egregious acts.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I don't think that is the proper way to look at it, but I guess you could, like, stretch it to that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, yeah, I not to say in any way I condone that being a positive message to take away from this, but
yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I mean, like, really, they had like an impossible task to make this guy like a hero. Honestly, I think it would have been interesting to kill him off earlier in the film and have Phoenix kind of shoulder most of like the survival, like make it out alive, kill everybody off type of shit.
Yeah, that could have been interesting.
I think that would have been a real interesting angle to take.
I just think I think if I ever am to like watch this movie again, which who knows, maybe I will.
Sure.
If I am, I think you just have to go into it like with this like headcanon of like this is the only movie in this thing, you know? And like if you
or
do
at least
that,
it's a separate movie.
it's fine, you know?
Yeah. Just like no, it has nothing to do with the first movie. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I that's all I have to say about it, and I'm ready to move on to reviews when you guys are.
Yeah. I guess I'll go first. This is from The Famous Freak, and it goes, very nice movie. Blah, blah, blah. The Sergeant is just, and honestly, this is just gibberish. Like, it's not like any, it's not I think somebody was just hitting keys on the keyboard.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah. So their take, very nice movie. I don't know what the rest of that's supposed to entail, but 5 stars. 5 stars.
Very good. Mike, do you want to go next or you want me to?
You go next.
Okay, so my review is from Michael Rhodes, rated 5 stars. Awesome sequel. I liked it even better than the original. Turning the blind man into a sort of hero was great. He rescued the little girl from her parents who were going to kill her. The blind man is killed at the end. The girl does kill the last villain left. Good for her. She goes to a sort of orphanage at the end of the film.
Good stuff.
One found this helpful.
That is concise. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, all right. Here's what I'll do for this one. Gabriela Flores says, "Thank you for this movie. I really love this movie. Love you." Heart eye smiley face. 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 2 heart eye smiley faces. Heart eye smiley face. Heart eye smiley face. Heart eye smiley face. Heart eye smiley face. Waving smiley face. Hand covering mouth laughing smiley face. Winking face. Smug smiling face. Wide smiling face. Wide eyes open smiling face. Kissy face. 3 tooth full mouth open smiling faces.
There's got to be a story there.
I think that lady was trying to text like the person she went and saw the movie with, but accidentally submitted a Google review.
Shit, this isn't my messaging app.
Thanks for going to the movie with me. It was great. Love you.
A lot.
Yeah. Thank you for this movie. Really love this movie. Love you.
Yeah, like they just got done a date and yeah, she sent it to the wrong place.
Beautiful.
All right, Ryan, you're one star.
Oh man, Nubular, the last
Nubular
one.
MMOs.
Yeah. Says that there was too much going on, extreme amounts of blood and excessive killing. All right, well, what the hell did you think you were going to get yourself into?
Exactly. That's like, I'm sorry. Did you not know?
like
I'm so sorry.
I thought this was an action movie.
Like, whoa, man, there was a lot of blood in this here film.
Did you accidentally pick the wrong movie? Did you
Yep.
Was that everything?
Yeah.
Oh,
That was it.
Oh, I thought you were like you had to interject in the middle.
Nah,
of
they're
your
just
thing.
like lots of blood, excessive killing, and it's like I don't know what movie you thought you were going to see.
Yeah.
I guess I'll do my 1 star. You do your 1 star, and then I'll do my honorable mention.
Right
here.
on.
Danielle Lilly says, "Big letdown. First movie plot moved quickly and action continually. Second movie started too slow. Plot was all over the place. Ending sucked. Nothing plot-wise was related to the original movie. Original was awesome and scary. Forbes mag lied.
I love that line.
Forbes mag lied about being as good as original. It sucked."
Yeah, fuck you, Forbes. I guess you said it was a good film, but no. All right, well, you two both stole the 2 things I were going to do for my review. I was going to do for my review. So I'll just read the top. Jodie Flood here. Terrible movie. If you liked the first Don't Breath, I would not recommend you watch this one. It has absolutely no relation or similarity to the original movie at all. I cannot comprehend why they wrote such a different storyline when viewers enjoyed what they'd seen in the first movie. Instead, they chose to screen something completely different to what one would like to expect. They completely changed everything, and this might as well be a totally different movie altogether, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I agree with your guys' take that really they honestly should have just made a different movie altogether.
Yeah.
Altogether.
Can I also do an honorable mention?
By all
Sure.
means.
Yeah. You want to go first?
Yeah. Because All right, Tommy comes in with the. This is still a 1-star. Where the first film offered genuine scares, this one is suspenseful at best, snicker-worthy at worst, and will beg viewers to recall the time Fozzie got on water skis and tried not to get eaten by a shark.
Oh, what do they call that? I feel like there's a saying related to that. What do they call it? What do they call it?
I think it's called skiing like Fonzie.
Skiing like Fonzie. Yeah.
They really skied like Fonzie when they did that.
Yeah. Man, I was really looking forward to it, but they really skied like Fonzie.
So I have an honorable mention as well, and the reason I consider
you said
this
Fozzie, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Did I say Fozzie? I thought I said Fonzie.
When we listen back, I promise you it's Fozzie.
Yeah, remember when,
as in bear.
You remember when the Muppets had Fozzie
Yes.
jump the shark?
Yes, I do. I do remember that.
So I have an
How could you
honorable
ever
mention,
forget?
and I consider this an honorable mention as opposed to a review because this is just not a review. So it's rated 1 star by Keon Jacobs, and it says, "Greetings," with several emojis. Now, before I watch this movie, I just want to ask y'all, should I wait until it comes out on my Fire Stick, or should I spend the money? That's it.
What were they? Did they think that was gonna be like in the were they in the help section of Google or like Google Answers or something? Whatever that is.
So, I have a little idea before we get to our ratings.
Right.
So can you remind me what the name of the person who did the review that was very emoji filled that you read?
Gabriela Flores.
Gabriela Flores. Okay, so as we did on our last episode, we did a little bit of a somewhat of an improv bit that I thought was really fun.
Okay, right, yeah.
So I was thinking, like, what could we do this time?
Right.
That is kind of reminiscent of that. And I think it might be really fun to maybe do an improv role play as one of us is Gabriella, who and we're going on that date.
Right.
And we are various characters in this thing, and we're reenacting what would lead to that review, which was accidentally a text being sent.
Yes, I see.
So who wants to be who? I figure we could have Gabriella, her date, and maybe like somebody at the theater or something.
Right. All right. Let me look at the review here. I guess I'll be Gabriella. Well, I'll try my best.
Okay, I think I could be the date. Do you want to be like somebody who works at the theater, Ryan?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Okay. So my pitch is that we just came out of the theater after seeing the film, and maybe we're walking out and we're being greeted by a theater employee.
Right.
What should my name be, or should we go it off the cuff as we're doing this?
Let's go Gabe.
Gabe and Gabriella.
Whatever. Get off my back. What do you want from me?
Well, folks, I hope you had a lovely night and enjoyed the movie.
Gabriella,
I'll be honest.
Hey, Gabriella, this guy seems like a freak. He's just laughing.
Well, I think laughter is incredible and infectious. In fact, I like to end my text with as many laughs as I possibly can, and I think, in your honor, I'll take that with me tonight.
I'm sorry, I just remembered a really funny joke.
Go on.
I love jokes.
You hear the one about... All right, I hope you have a good night.
That is such a good one. It's like one of those anti-jokes I hear so much about. There's no punchline. And hell, there wasn't even a setup with that one, so that's really intriguing.
You know, Gabriella, you've inspired me.
Yeah.
You know, I know our time together has been brief.
Gabe.
But I truly believe that you've made me a better person.
Oh.
You know, 5 minutes ago, I was ready to just dismiss anybody who was laughing for no apparent reason.
Right, well.
But you've shown me that there are some people who might have weird disorders, like Joaquin Phoenix in The Joker for some reason, where they just...
That one.
Yeah, I'll see you next time.
What? Okay, well, I'll send you a message with my feelings. Don't you worry about it. But first,
my number
Google how to get home.
is Google Reviews.
Okay. Google Reviews.
.com.
.com. Okay.
Yeah, so I have a weird carrier.
Okay.
So yeah, you just send me a text and be sure to just Yeah. We'll catch up again later.
Right.
Yeah. Bye.
You all must have seen a rom-com tonight, right?
Oh, I'm pretty sure. It was such a touching story of fatherhood. Anyway, let me run this message by you real quick. Thank you for this movie. I really love this movie. Love you. We haven't said it to each other formally yet, but I think I'll test the waters through text here.
They're not going to text back.
Oh.
And you might get like one review that's helpful.
Well, that's hurtful, but I'm going to
Mr.
take...
Yoder, you're needed in the Theater 7.
Wait, I don't
A
understand.
kid
Wait,
just puked.
Is the
that's me. And
is the
I start
attendant
with,
at the theater like Ryan? Like Ryan is playing themselves if they I don't understand.
yeah, I'm working
What
at
is
the
the
movie theater.
theory here?
What's so hard
Yeah,
to
Ryan's
understand?
been working at the theater. Didn't you hear?
Okay.
That's the twist. I've been working
Tell
at
us
the
about
movie theater
Gabriella. Is she
this
nice?
this entire time. What?
Is Gabriella nice?
The whole meta is being fucked up here.
I have
I
no
wonder
idea.
who started that chain.
I was trying to introduce a new character. Excuse me.
No, it
New
sounds like you
challenger
were trying
approaches.
to introduce a character
Well, I was
that
gonna-
we're all very familiar with because they're sitting right here.
I was trying to be a theater manager who was trying to get their employee to
Okay, and
stop
is the theater
flirting
manager's
with
name Nate?
maybe.
Okay,
actually, yeah.
all right,
I
manager
do have the
Lamborn.
credentials.
Yeah.
Well, that was a train wreck. Do you want to do some reviews?
No, I like your idea of doing fun little bits.
We just
but,
have to get
you
better
know,
at it.
That wasn't a great prompt for an improv scene, if I do say so myself.
I was thinking of
Mr.
something
Director.
off the cuff. Come on.
No, God bless you
Yeah, a
for
little
it.
too off the
Someone has
cuff.
to take bold moves. I'm glad you did, and I respect you for it.
Hey, I think we made it through that without a scratch.
Yeah. Oh, actually, this is a good idea. How about you send us your ideas for prompts?
screening?
Yeah, prompts and good improv ideas. You listener, you viewer, I'm going to solicit, and you know where you can send those is to our podcast email. But before we get to that, I want to ask you, Ryan. The name of this podcast is "What the Hell Was That?" ? As we know.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I'm going to task you with setting up an email for the What the Hell Was That podcast.
All
And
right.
might I add, you might want to make it concise so people can remember it.
Stop it right now. You don't get to input on this. You made the actual email. What I'd like you to do is suggest some names for the email that you might come up with for What the Hell Was That, the podcast, that you can email here to us. Just let us know. You know, some names might be taken, and feel free to just run through
I
a
know.
couple off the top of your head.
So the first one is Google Reviews.
Okay, good.
.com. You can send your emails straight to there.
and improv suggestions.
Yeah, actually, to
Don't
cut
breathe
this off
too.
here,
No.
viewers, if
No.
if you go ahead and leave a improv suggestion for us under the review section of Don't Breathe
Breathe
2
2,
and
yeah.
send us a screenshot,
Yeah.
we will give you a nice shout out on the podcast.
100%.
So anyway, please continue.
Yeah. So go. Okay, good. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I would consider that. That seems pretty obvious, frankly.
An easy one to remember would be podcast@gmail.com.
That is good. And
you know, that
ver-
gets
and-
it's concise.
and really does
and like
stake a
honestly,
claim,
I think
frankly.
it's pretty broad. And I
For
don't
this
think like
specific podcast.
If you want
what
to send
would
an
you-
email
what would you
to our
say?
podcast, just send an email to podcast. We got it, baby.
so
That's ours.
what like what the hell was that at gmail.com.
Okay, that's good.
Or
That seems good.
Fuck WHYY. Wait W. That's the radio station.
Like
right? No.
WTH
What the hell
WT.
is that? Yeah, WTHWT
WTHWT.
at gmail.com.
Right, those are sensible. That's good.
WTHWT podcasts.
Yep, that's good too.
At gmail.com. What is it?
Well, what I'm sensing here is that you decided to go consistent when you wanted to do the words and decided to go consistent when you wanted to do the letters. I like that idea. But maybe, and you know, I don't want to speak on behalf of Nate, but maybe Nate would think like, let's mix it up a little bit. What's our email, Nate? What's our email? Friend?
What's the email, Nate?
Buddy?
WTH was that pod at gmail.com.
Pod.
Now, I'm
You know what,
sorry.
Mike?
You have to run that by me again.
No.
You're saying
Let's-
it was what? thwthatpod@gmail.com?
I'm going to formally challenge you.
Oh,
Mike.
what the HWT
I would like
pod
you.
at gmail.com.
I would like you to make an email.
Oh, yeah? No.
No,
we
I want
live
you to
with
Just
your
make
sin.
an email.
no,
Just
here-
try to
we're
do
gonna
that.
sin
Just
in
try
this
and manage that.
podcast.
We're going to have a battle here. You're gonna.
Okay.
I want you to make an email.
Right.
And you can name it whatever you like.
Uh-huh.
And then we will have viewers
Right.
email their
Oh,
preferred
I'm gonna make so many
email
fake accounts.
name.
I'm gonna make so many fake accounts. It'll be viewer 1, viewer 2, viewer 3, and it will just go up to like 1996.
You know, I think I have another improv idea.
Okay.
Oh boy.
How about we all, as one person,
Okay.
we all spitball a letter to Sam Raimi.
Okay.
Yeah. So do we want to collectively write a letter to Sam Raimi here?
Well,
on the
I'd
podcast?
start it off as I really love your work with The Evil Dead. The remake was kind of, you didn't need to do that. But the TV show was good. But
Dear Mr. Raimi.
yeah, well, no, I wouldn't even. I'd start with all that, and then
So let's take it from the top here. We're
Okay.
gonna go. I love your work on Evil Dead,
Yeah.
the originals.
Yeah.
The remake was okay.
And Dawn of the No Wait No, that's not you. No wait, never mind.
The TV show's pretty good too.
Uh-huh.
Dear Mr. Raimi.
Dear Mr. Raimi.
I also like the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
However,
And I know you do too.
I feel that the third one is a bit lacking.
Yes, true. Though finger snapping is always a good choice. And
finger
I
guns.
promote it.
Come on.
I like your new work, but I don't see enough presence of the old work in it. An idea for you, if you would, Mr. Raimi. The blind man in Don't Breathe and Don't Breathe 2.
He should appear in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Uh-huh. Think about it. He would make a really good villain.
Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah. But also, have you maybe thought about him getting bitten by a radioactive spider?
2 spider people.
Uh-huh.
The way I see it is that infinite universes, infinite spider people. And who's to say that one of those infinite spider people could not be a blind man who has committed atrocities?
Think about it. If he had those spidey senses, maybe he wouldn't go getting hit with stuff all the time. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
In closing,
I think he would also make a good Venom too also. Maybe you could make him Spidey Venom, Blind Man, question mark? Come on.
in additional conclusion,
I loved your work on Evil Dead, and also the TV show is. Did I mention that already? I don't remember if I mentioned that already. An idea: Blind Man doesn't have eyes. Ash doesn't have hand. Maybe we give Blind Man chainsaw eyes? Question mark.
Ooh. Dear Santa.
with love, what the hell was that? The podcast.
Wait. What's our email though? Ryan.
P.S.
That
Please send us an
email at Ryan.
Google reviews at .com.
Yes. Yeah.
And additionally,
Right.
WTH
Yeah. What? Huh?
was that
What the hell?
Pod.
WT
at Gmail.com.
podcast
369.
P.S. I wish Spider-Man 4 happened.
Yeah, but this really was Spider-Man 4 as far as I can tell. So
This is set in the Marvel Universe, right?
yeah.
P.S.
P.S. also conclusion.
Is Tobey Maguire nice in person?
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you, Sam.
All right, would you guys like to do a rating?
Yeah, let's do our ratings, baby.
Yeah, I think if one improv session has to be cut from the official edit, I think I know which one it might be.
The letter to Sam Raimi.
Oh, obviously.
Oh, good.
All right. Who wants to go first here?
I guess I'll take that bold step.
Wow.
I'll go out on a limb here.
All right, let's hear it.
A lot of people said they wished that it tied more successfully into the first film, but honestly, the best thing they could have done for this film is to remove it from the first film as much as possible, because this dude was pure evil in the first film, and if you're going to have him walking around being the good guy in this film, you can't shine a light on the first film. So, with that, I think they did the best they could with what they had. They had kind of an impossible task, and there's no way they kind of came out looking good on how they wanted to portray this guy in this film. So with all that in mind, I suppose I'll be a little generous towards them because I'm sympathetic towards their plight. So I enjoyed it. It was well made and stuff like that. But like, dude, your character that you're having your hero, that's a pretty central thing to have to your film, and that's a pretty big flaw in it. So all that together, we mix it on up. I'm going out of. Yeah, that sounds right to me.
Yeah, I think that was pretty well said. I think to be a lot more concise, I, for the rest of my life, will be considering this film as its own standalone film.
Probably
and with that, again, I'm going to give this a rating without the context of the first film and just have it be a standalone thing. And with that, I think it deserves a out of. And again, I think in reality that might be a little bit different because that is not the world we live in. But in my own head canon, that is what it is.
Just separate twin brother thing. Also blind. What?
And also a Navy SEAL.
I understand
the main
what you're
character in
saying.
this film is the twin brother of the guy from the last film.
Who is his evil twin?
Who is
this
his
is the
evil
good twin?
See, this is where I'm lost. Like I haven't really been following the Marvel universe, so I really don't know like where this lines up timeline wise, which is why I think I'm gonna have to give this movie a
Now you're gonna see
out of
what I see.
but just for purely that reason, nothing else.
Fair.
Like the movie was all right. Just confusing,
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm glad you were here for it, frankly.
Me too.
Glad I was here.
As I was saying to Mike in the theater while we were at the concession stand, I think that you are our go-to guest for probably not good horror movies.
All things spooky, spectacular,
Ooh.
horror and horrible,
Well,
terrible
with that,
and terrifying.
actually, this might I might be completely off, but if my off-the-cuff math is right, this might be coming out around Halloween time. So,
Oh, well, happy Halloween.
spooky.
And do the mash.
The mash. It
was a monster mash.
Blind guy mash. All right, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Ah!